Greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott, here to share some love, some appreciation, some time, and hopefully some helpful perspectives. Thank you to all of you who have already stopped by. You tell me our polls, some of the familiar names and some maybe I haven't seen in a bit. Big Stank, you tell me. Gypsy, Swinton's Birds, Moose, 6079 Smith, W. Our poll, of course. Blessings. Blessings to us all. I noticed I'm wearing like this. This shirt doesn't really, I don't know how it comes across on your screen. It looks funky on mine, but I'm feeling good today. Feeling very grounded, very I don't know. I'm coming from a place of humility, but also just absolute peace. Considering the topic today, overcoming past limits, I was trying to think of what would be some good examples. I mean, I've shared a lot of my story. I went through decades believing I needed a drink, man, to deal with just being. I was insane. And then, I've talked about my practices and the gifts this experience has allowed me to learn as far as surrender. You don't find surrender without patience. You don't find patience without maybe a lot of things, humility, care. I don't know. There's lots of things that we can grow in greater ways. And this is what I realized about myself, brothers and sisters. I mean, trust what you know, but trust what you're hearing me say. Because I'm an honest man, seriously. I got no hidden agendas. Prayers I did not think to ask for. Prayers I didn't know I wanted to pray. Those prayers that I didn't know of years ago, they've already been answered to me, for me. God has gifted me things in my life, things being memories, experiences, a perspective. Man, these things I did not know were important. Faith was something I truly never understood. It never made sense to me, the idea of monks going off and living in a monastery. That made no sense at all to me. And then even the religious fanatics who wanted to waste a Sunday afternoon sitting in a church. I mean, what? I didn't get that either. But faith, holy cows, brothers and sisters. Sometimes our limits are things that we ignore, right? We don't even notice it, and it just becomes a normal part of our comfort zone. We have these limits we don't see, that we don't recognize until we actually really stop to until we really stop to reflect and really stop to consider what has been revealed to us in our lives. I'd encourage you, ask yourself honestly, what have been my limits? I mean, and if you've been through stories like mine where you've done, overcome some of the self-chosen handicaps, like addictions and unhealthy behaviors, if you've already overcome those, congratulate yourself. But what else has been limiting? Where else in your life, in your patterns of belief, what has been holding you back? Holding me back from what? I mean, because I was thinking about this. Someone made a comment that and maybe it was a jest or whatever, but I have no limits. I didn't think I had limits until I faced them, until I was truly tested, until life brought me an experience like, ooh, out of left field, was not seeing that one coming. Holy cows. Test yourself, brothers and sisters. Set little tests in your own life. Do an honest evaluation of how your day is spent. Are you in control? Are you leading yourself towards your destiny? Or are you still feeling trapped and feeling small, insecure, maybe afraid? If those are your feelings and you're feeling those limits, perhaps it's time to face those and find ways beyond them. Because if we can all, brothers and sisters, come together to overcome the limits of the past, all the excuses and all the challenges, and yes, there are a lot of challenges in the idea of bringing forth a better world. People are pretty resistant to new ideas and to change. It's like, holy cows, man. But what I've come to know, encourage back to the topic of when you do a self-evaluation of your life, if you do find areas, okay, and look at your life in different experience, different parts of you are experienced in different ways. So there's the intimate part of you, the relationship part, friendships, family, and then there's more of the external and the day-to-day. What's your safety, your comfort level? I mean, serious. What's your level of abundance? How adequately prepared are you for the future? You know, what type of resources is available to you? We all have our own different limits. I think one of the most important ones, I encourage anyone to check your limit. Rate yourself. How do you feel as far as fulfillment? Okay. How fulfilled are you in life? Do you feel like you're living the life you want, that you intend? Are you intentional about the life you are living? And I tell you what, if you don't have a goal, if you don't have goals and the belief and the faith that you can change, things aren't looking good for the future. Okay. For the future of mankind, the way the tensions are growing, the illusions of control, they're growing, brothers and sisters. And here's the deal. This whole world we're living in, it's all imagined and created by us. And that's everything, I think. But, you know, I don't want to get too much into that part of consciousness. In this 3D realm, this physical life we're living in, one of the greatest obstacles in our life individually is the imagined limits. And the imagined limits get enabled and reinforced perhaps by those who oppose your growth in the world. A lot of people fear growth, it seems. A lot of people seem to fear change. Well, I know. I remember being me when change scared the shit out of me, man. I was so worried if things weren't right, if things weren't consistent and, you know, the way I understood, oh man, I was getting agitated. But what I found, brothers and sisters, all of our limits, all of our fears, all of our confusion, limits, fears, and confusion that come from the world, from the worldly beliefs, from the worldly limitations. Some of those are real, but we don't know what we are capable of until it happens. I shared the thumbnail stuff on my other on the other social medias. I'm trying to remember. We did an Einstein quote today as well. Information is not knowledge. The only source of knowledge is experience. You need experience to gain wisdom. So you can either believe in a limit or you can experience yourself, you know, learning why the limit exists, or more so in my experience, finding that when I pushed myself a little more, I was able to push beyond the limits I'd imagined. Or another case I'd find in my life is I would imagine this event, you know, running out of money, having the power shut off, whatever, you know, stuff. I'd spend time worried and upset, and then I'd find a solution or avoid the thing I worried about. So when I looked at how I was spending my time, choosing, brothers and sisters, what changed, this reminder just came forth again. What changed my life truly was becoming intentional about my time. Intentional about my time meant I had to be honorable with what was true. What I said needed to be true, what I what I believed needed to be true. To be intentional about our time, it's best to understand what we're doing. What is our purpose for doing? And today, brothers and sisters, again, I'm quite open about the situation of life I'm living. I don't know what to do. I truly don't. I'm only guessing. So I went through my prayers, my honest inventory. Praise God, I have comfort, safety, abundance to share today. I have no worries, no fears for the day. So what do I do? And that is my prayer to God. I encourage you. God, what may I do for myself, for the world I live in? Those were my choices. And the only reminders I found for myself was be patient. I have this scheduled for today, and I don't know what later today may bring. Who knows what might unfold? But this thought did occur to me. We are living in a very amazing, very interesting time in history, human history, as far as, you know, is commonly shown. And there's a lot of people on this earth at this time. I don't get to interact with very many. And along those lines, welcome to the panel.
What's going on, bro?
Yes. How you doing today, brother?
Doing well, working, taking a break, man. Yeah,
What? Oh, Is that a script?
No. It's narration for the video I'm working on. Actually for the 100K, I'm making a video about the people who the cop watchers without whom I wouldn't even be a cop watcher. Right. I was on house arrest and I saw this guy confront the cops and we're still friends. I talked to him on the phone a couple of days ago. And he spun around. The cops told him, all right, beat it. And he spun around and went back and confronted him. And I was so indoctrinated. I thought, oh, don't poke the bear. Why are you risking it? You know, all that sheep shit, right? And he kind of broke my mind open. And I talk about him and some more people.
How cool. So that is, I mean, congrats to you. That is a pretty cool milestone, man.
Thank you. And I'm recent. It appears you're recent, but I am recent to the liberation of the mind shit, right? I'm telling you, I was sheep when I started cop watching, so I'm behind a lot of people that you see running around here with that shit. It amazes me. Some of the shit even Paul knows a wizard is like. I feel like I die before I acquire his knowledge, right? I won't even try. It just seems fruitless. You know, a lot of these cats, man, the shit that they take as second nature, I feel like I gotta try a little harder these days.
Joe, don't underestimate yourself, please. Hey, and let me do it. I'll recognize your humility. You're reaching that pretty cool milestone, 100K subscribers. As the Christ said, greater things than these shall you do. And, you know, I don't know if he had 100,000, but hey.
It ain't no Christ shit, bro. But thank you.
Hey, I heard that made from a couple other bigger.
Yeah, that's funny.
I thought that was pretty funny, but it's true, you know. And to do that, you're taking you want to recognize those people who came before you, the giants, so to say, that you stood upon to see beyond.
Exactly, and then literally, not just it's so many of them, but I really right now focus is on the ones who I would not have got as a guy, black dude. Who's doing it. Had I not seen him do it, I wouldn't have seen me being able to do it. I'd seen other black guys, but they were more professional and studious. I saw, you know, so I think that guy. So I'm doing shit like that. But I'd also like to thank the guys who freed my mind, right? I'd like to thank the guys who took the time to explain the philosophy of how fucked up my thinking was, you know. And I got some of those cats too. I'd love to key on those guys too. But that's where it's at, man. You know, that's why I like it, these panels so much. Even the cats that people put down so easily. You know, you guys drop some jewels. I'll give you your credit now before motherfuckers even get here. When I think that I must do a thing now, I literally say your name in my head. You know, like there's only the now. If I ever question, I could do it later. I always say there's only the now. You know, I'll attribute that to you. I know that, but I use you to keep me in line. You know, thank you for that. I'm getting much better because you beat it over niggas' heads. There's only the now. There's only the now. And that helps me a lot. And I could go on and on. Girl, fucking just some of the energy of the cats up here. Right. Really, that guy, what is his name? Jesse.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I went and saw that room with the lights. I don't even know what they called the Love Trap Slam Dance or something. Oh my God. I'm like, this dude is interesting as fuck. Fuck.
Hey, this is what I was saying when you were showing up, brother. This is a very cool, very interesting time for us to live. And hey, I want to encourage you to consider a thought I accepted for myself. I think you're a quick learner. You're a very astute. You're very aware, very intuitive, and you learn and understand very quickly. So
I get a high off of that shit I do. It's like adrenaline rush, the dopamine rush or something.
Dude, I found that I became addicted to learning new shit. Yes, I did. And
Good. Chase that shit.
it's fun. It makes
Yes.
life fun discovering what you can, how much greater can you understand, you know, whatever,
It,
insert whatever.
it's like this is name. Einstein said that someone asked him a simple question, like a statistic, and he said, "I don't cloud my head with those things. That's what books are for." He was trying to tell you it's about the mental process, the way you think, right? So if you find that shit where everything is a puzzle, you can literally see a screw in a tree, and you can sit there for an hour trying to figure out the background story. How much fucking iron is on it? How much did it get rained on? How much decay? Who would have put it here? Why would you could do that shit forever, and you just sharpen the way your mind thinks. Suddenly you can walk into a room and things become more obvious. Right?
I love that. Yes. We can learn from nature, right?
Of course.
Looking at anything. It's the power of the mind. That is what I think has been ignored and forgotten for the great
Yes.
part.
Yes. What do you think about I've been watching some good stuff that dude Billy Clarkson or Carlson or something. But he talks about where the Bible got their stuff from, the Samaritan Anunnaki and all of those ancient tablets and stuff. And more there, it appears that they weren't talking about such physical things. They were talking about conquering the mind. You can travel if you can conquer your mind and open doors. And some of them brag. Some guy was bragging so much. He was like, he's seen the fall and rise and fall of different mankind and all of that shit. But that's what they were saying and talking about. We focus too much on the body, and the real shit, when you get good at focusing on what the mind can do, is unlimited. And it's planned. I talk a little bit too much, but it's planned. What you see, and I'm sure we've had this discussion. What you see is a very small percentage. If you take an atom or a cell or something, what you can't see is much more vast. But we focus on what we can see strictly, right? Like we're simpletons. What if you if you majored in what you can't see? What if you learn to manipulate those things and how they work to say the way what you see, you major in it. You know how how this feels just by looking at it, blah 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 blah. What about if you major in the shit that you can't see? These waves, these vibrations, what constitutes these things, how you could use them. Man, you be a god among men.
Joe, amen. I love where you were taking that. And I am a big fan. I think it's Billy Carson. I think that's his name.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm a big fan of his work. I hope to meet a lot of those people, some of the people that have risen up and really studied this. I'd love to sit and actually have conversations, but
same. I got a few cats I like to talk to.
Well, Joe, let's figure out how to make it happen. I discovered another guy today on YouTube.
Hold on, before you go on. I discovered a way to make it happen. I just took a break from my work and specifically looked for Jack Talcott to make it happen because that was the guy I wanted to talk to. So I just made it happen, bro. That's what I do. But please continue. And how you doing, Sarah?
Good. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Welcome, Sarah. How are you? Obviously, never mind.
It's the leg, it's the thigh, Sarah, and he can't think straight. He saw a piece of leg in a corner of the
No. It's
I like the Anunnaki shit, so I was like, I'm gonna come up on
Good
here.
girl.
Crazy stuff.
I think history truly is. Well, I give everything up. This is God's design. The mystery of this life, this experience. God's allowed a lot of secrets to be hidden, a lot of truths, a lot of obvious things to be misunderstood. And it's all, what is the point of life? to grow. How do you grow? You learn. And so we're here to learn and grow
I would
and
agree.
discover new things.
I got a buddy who I don't know how right this is, but he believes in there's some a good line of reasoning behind it, that the fruit that they bit of from the tree was knowledge and logic and those things. And he says that to pursue them is to your detriment. Interesting. He's the only cat I know who says that, bro.
It's both the downfall and the correction. It's the way it's I think it's a brilliant design.
I
mean,
don't
if
think
you
we have other choice.
well,
Right?
yeah, we're here, and by the grace of God, we were given free will, the opportunity and abilities to learn. And so to know good and to have free will, we've got to be able to taste and to know evil. So I think humanity's done that. We've been
That's
playing
logical.
that part for a while.
Yeah, we've been tasting our ass off. Yeah.
So I think this is the opportunity. This might be the generation where God lets the heroes to really come out.
We got an opportunity other people have not had with this social media, this instant contact shit. We do have an opportunity, man. We look like monkeys fucking a football, you know, when we're arguing with each other, and some of the shit that we talk about. Sarah, tell me about Anunnaki.
Well, it depends on who you're talking about, because some people think the Anunnakis are the giants, the Nephilim.
Very good.
Some people think the Anunnaki are like these creatures that live under the ground with tunnels and are part of the military.
Yes,
or old guys, Egyptian gods.
Yes, yes.
Which version of Anunnaki are we talking about?
That's all I want to do is talk about them. You're doing that shit. I'm happy. You're right. Some people have them as men. Some people have them as gods. Some people have them as those giants you're talking about. Apparently, they play a bunch of different roles. I wasn't aware that the reptile underground people were considered the Anunnaki too. I hadn't heard that one.
Depends on who you're talking to. It's hard to know, you know, when you're talking about spiritual beings, how do you actually know who's who if you don't actually get to see them or experience it? So it's like, well, they could be this, they could be that, it could be this. Like, until you actually interact, how do you fucking know?
I think what you the best we get a translation of that tablet. Oh shit! The best thing that you
he's in a different spot.
That's how I know that that I faded out. I wasn't even looking. But read the damn tablets for yourself. I know we don't read Sumerian or whatever language it's in. Best translation or few translations we can find. And that's where you would begin. Then you'd give your own interpretation. When I read the Bible, I certainly don't get what a lot of these other knuckleheads get. I think it was written for simpler people, and it was written analogously for the future people like us.
Mm-hmm.
Are Anunnakis and Nephilim the same thing?
That's one of the theories. That's the one I usually go with.
Is Jesus a Nephilim?
No.
That's a good question,
Think
right?
about it. The human mother, divine father.
If you think Jesus is God, where he was born, then by definition, if you're going to go with half God, half human, or half angel, half human, then sure. But I think Jesus, the real Jesus, had two biological human parents. He just had an angelic soul.
Right. Meaning
an angel incarnate.
Joseph was his dad, but what they put into him was from God. Yeah.
He's not actually God.
I heard that that was the way they phrased it for a long time. To Christianity grew some strength, and then suddenly it was, it was a virgin thing, and they left the dad out of it, left Joseph out of it.
Say that again. What about? Sorry.
No. I heard that it was before. That's the way they described it, as Jesus was more mortal. His dad was Joseph, And then later, they came along and when they began to make Jesus this deity, and they took out any interactions he had with females, anything that made him look human, like the part when he was a kid and did nefarious stuff. And that was part of it too. They take away the virgin, the dad, and it's a virgin birth. And, that gives him more, he's more of a god. But they say before he was more thought to be a man that was, really incredible.
More like a prophet than.
Yeah, before he became a god. Very
Jack,
good.
barge in your own panel. I see the hand.
Well, I'm considering and reflecting the symbology of it as I understand. It really is. It's a fascinating story of humanity, but I'm of the belief that the Christed energy, the Christed spirit, that it was really the philosophy of the story, because whether it's divinely created through God and the patterns of time, whether it's divinely created or reimagined by people, the story is repeated about the virgin birth leading the 12 and the sacrifice.
It's so interesting that it was repeated, because it was repeated before
before Jesus.
Yes, before Jesus and all of that stuff even happened. It was, the story had been repeating before the version we got.
The beautiful thing is the lessons. The lessons are eternal. The knowledge doesn't go away. We just forget it.
What are the lessons, though? What are the lessons?
Here's one. Oh, maybe it's not a lesson. But a guy said the same thing Jack said. They were talking about where's Noah's Ark, and they got so serious. He said, "Hey, if you're this serious, then you've forgotten what the whole thing about. It's not about the ark itself. It has nothing to do with it is and where it's located, blah, blah, blah. The important shit, don't you ever forget, is the lesson, the story." So what the lesson was, I don't know.
What if I suggest that
be a righteous man?
You've probably heard me say that I think that school isn't about the curriculum. It's about training kids to be obedient and all that shit. What about if I did that with Christianity and said it's about training you into Stockholm syndrome, so you don't know what love is? It's about training you into negating, holding two conflicting opinions at the same time, like one God, three gods.
I think you'd have a good argument if you went down that road.
like a virgin could give birth. Probably Joseph was the only virgin in that marriage.
Right.
I don't mean to be brash, but
what if I said, going on Jack's comments about the Christ energy, that Jesus Christ is actually a title and rank, and that we can all become Jesus Christ when we are saved, we are saved by God, which is God is my salvation. That's what Jesus means. And then we're anointed by the Holy Spirit, which is Christos. When you are born again and anointed by the Holy Spirit, you are saved by God and have eternal life, and you become Jesus Christ.
Okay,
and
wait.
Jesus' real name is Emmanuel. It's not Jesus Christ.
Before I consider that, I gotta ask: are you taking out the whole story of the man on the planet at that time? Does he play a role in what you're saying? Right, because he seems could be totally excluded in what you're saying.
No, like
he was still walking around.
He's still a human, an angel incarnate who did God's will and was born again. He had the Holy Spirit. He was anointed. He was saved by God. He did all of those things. He was crucified on a cross because people assumed, or because he rode in on a fucking donkey from a book that he's read since he was a child, assumed he was the Messiah, and hung. They didn't hang him for it. They hung him on a cross for it because they were terrified. There were many other people that were crucified. He wasn't the only one. And
I think that is my belief. I think when they say Jesus is returning, blah, 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 a lot of that is don't go looking for Jesus. They're going to say he's here, he's there. He'll come to you. I think that's a lot of what they're saying. He literally is in you in the form of these things, and mercy, forgiveness, your judgment, all of these things. It's literally him. He's literally a part of you. I believe that.
Yeah. Now, I personally think the second coming of Christ is the Antichrist. I think the Savior is the man that's going to deceive the world. And
Yeah, this is
that's where
fuck.
going to happen. He's
Plot
the one that
twist.
comes in after the
Holy
little horn.
fuck, really, Sarah?
Yeah, if you read the Bible, it says the
Oh my
Christ,
God.
the morning star. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. They're talking about Venus, who was the first light of the day and the last light at the end of the day. And Venus is representative for Lucifer. They talk about morning star all throughout a lot of the New Testament.
All right, so the philosophy is that he returns again in the form of all this chaos and shit. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Jesus, like the real Holy Jesus Christ. I think it's going to be Lucifer, who's returning as the Christ, but he's really the Antichrist.
Okay, well, that's logical. You'll probably think that the Antichrist is Christ. A lot of probably because he'll perform miracles, and a lot of people think he's Christ.
Yep.
I've painted this offer before. I mean, and you agree, we agree, I think the Spirit of Christ is within, and the anti-Spirit of Christ would be our selfishness. It would be the man's beliefs, our belief in
conceptually speaking, yes. But I think there's also a big picture, a global picture. There's a tangible set. Like I actually think there's a man incarnate who is the Antichrist, as well as the Antichrist spirit. Just like Jesus Christ existed as a man, there's also the Christ spirit within us. So I think it's both.
What if there's many? Many many Antichrist right now, and maybe it's always been, but at this point, I do think the return of the Christ is when we collectively, especially those who call themselves Christians, when they stop friggin' fighting and judging each other and they come together.
Oh, you mean Tommy?
Brothers and sisters.
You're talking about Tommy? I zoned out for a second. It sounded like you were talking about Tommy there just now, though.
One of many. That includes many of the Christians in my town. It's like a bunch of gossiping little fucking hens instead of practicing what they claim to believe.
Well, Jack, you go to 4 churches, don't you?
Well,
I mean, you're kind of a church slut.
I was. Well, seeking fellowship, seeking the opportunity to share my
Isn't
faith.
that networking? I think it's called networking. Yeah.
Yep. I've tried. Dude. Yeah.
I'm just saying that going to that many churches might undermine all of them.
Damn.
Maybe. People are territorial and they're fucking.
For sure.
Holy cows, man.
Yeah.
But see, this is okay. The topic, overcoming past limits. We can stop being so territorial.
I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out that that's probably.
It might be. I've honestly, I do and I don't still try to figure it out. I just trust the answers will come, things will change, but I'm constantly wondering, what could life be like if it was different? I mean, do you guys ever wonder that?
That's your lead function.
Well,
all that what if.
Your mic just went wonky, Sarah.
Yeah.
My mic.
I don't know what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I said you love what ifs, Jack.
That's
your lead function.
Staticky. It's staticky.
Yeah. I can't hear.
Doesn't like me anymore.
Is the battery dying?
No, it's brand new.
That somebody.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's bad though. It's really bad. It's weird that it went bad and it was.
It
fine.
just said the N-word on its own.
Yeah. That's something about Baphomet.
You need to get that mic under control.
That's
Worst case, try drop and reconnect. Who knows? I do not claim to understand technology at all.
We've heard your Discord wilding the fuck out for like a year now. We know.
I swear it's not Discord. I think I have a short in my USB.
That just
adapter.
makes exactly the Discord sound.
Yeah.
At least you got your smoke detector battery changed.
Dude, it cost me, I think it was $50 to go rent a ladder.
What?
Oh my God, you
Yeah.
are hopeless, bro. You are
Jack, you
hopeless.
should have got a golf club and stood on the chair and knocked that motherfucker off the ceiling.
Dude,
You
it's-
should have had a friend with a ladder. That's what you
That-
should
or-
have had.
you'd think I would, but nobody fucking serious. Yeah, anyway.
We should
I
definitely we should definitely tell Smith that he owes you $50.
Well, this is just, I mean, this is the society we live in. There's a
No,
lot of
it is
people
not,
that
man. I've never
don't
paid a
have-
nickel. If I got to stand on 2 chairs and my man's, I'm not participating in some dude coming over because he got a ladder. Fuck y'all. Fuck y'all, nigga. Y'all ain't gonna eat off of me or changing the battery. Fuck that.
No, I went to the hardware store and I rented a ladder.
God, fuck.
For
it's
like
gotta be
4
fuck, who
hours.
does that, bro?
Did you at least clean the gutters while
The
you
guy
had
whose
it?
last ladder was stolen, and I didn't realize it was stolen until the damn detector started chirping. Hey, life is life.
That's what friends are for, man, right? You never really pay for shit. You go begrudgingly to the hardware store. He's got to know a way to pull it off. You know a way to pull it off. That's the best thing about friends. That's part of the mystery we talked about earlier. You get 2 knuckleheads trying to figure something out. Fuck the hardware store. You figure out a way to do it on your own. You feel like cavemen or something, man. I can survive on my own.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you and all your buddies are standing in the front yard looking at a torn apart car. Like, fuck.
Fuck. You use duct
Well, you
tape.
can't drive it to work tomorrow. I'll tell you that much.
Right. Duct tape didn't hold the muffler. What? I gotta show you my guy Van outside.
His van?
His van. He's got the owner of the van. So when he travels and do the van life shit, he just put a second gas tank in there, and he filters used motor oil and wiggles some shit around where he can use that. Yes, man. And he just put a big ass house air conditioner, indoor outdoor thing on the van. Some like 3,500 something. Motherfuckers,
You can burn used motor oil in a gasoline engine.
Yes, I would love to show you. It's a diesel engine.
We'll have to do it, I think, on a different time. Jack especially is looking constipated, and Sarah, I know, is bored as fuck.
I'm sorry, but
no, actually, I was looking for Bible verses that actually specifically says Lucifer is coming back. But it's translated into English as morning star, day star, shining one, dawn bringer, son of the dawn. That's how they're translated into English. But in Greek, it's phosphorus, and in Latin, it's Lucifer.
So when they say Jesus is the morning star, you're saying they're not referring to the same cat that I know?
They're referring to Lucifer.
And when do they refer to the other Jesus? Other times?
I personally think the only time that they're truly discussing the real life of Jesus Christ is the Gospel of Mark. And then they pull from the Gospel of Mark and they integrate Lucifer and Osiris and all of those stories from actually the Book of the Dead. The Egyptian Book of the Dead is all over in the Bible, which were written right around the same time the Old Testament was. And then the New Testament comes in and pulls and talks about Serapis and the story that the God, the son who is born of a virgin mother and is half God, half human. Like that story that's been going on for some millennia.
Oh, Niki or Leaky. Yeah.
Hey, what would you consider? I mean, I've conceptually, right? Lucifer, the light bringer, is the light bringer, could be the awareness, the intelligence, the Christ is.
Which would mean that intelligence and logic is evil if we go down this
initially, pattern.
Let me finish, please.
Okay.
The conclusion I came to is a possibility. God is the truth, right? The absolute truth.
Yeah.
And if Jesus signifies love, Well, yeah, truth will destroy love, but love will overcome. It
Wait,
unites
what?
with the
Truth would
truth.
destroy love?
Well, the Father allowed the Christ to be murdered, so the truth allows love to be destroyed, but love overcomes. It is united. It's the power of human love
Why does
and
truth kill
truth.
love? I still ain't got that
Well,
part
here's
because Jesus died. Why does truth kill love?
oh, dude, hearts get broken when reality is revealed. When we learn shit, man, hearts fucking
But that's
Man.
because you weren't living in the truth. You had
yeah,
your
that's
own
trauma
illusion of the
victim
All
truth,
right,
shit.
all right.
not the
Yeah,
real truth.
The
yeah.
other concept, though, the balance to love is logic. And so, in my mind, logic is that it's that sharp edged structural
I got you.
controlling. That's the Luciferian concept. I don't know. But
Wow.
between the two, the light and dark balance together, that's where the one is known.
Check that out. Jack confused everybody.
Sorry,
No, I mean, I understand. Like he's talking about duality here, and that you
Yes.
have to have one without the other. But absolute truth is above duality; it's singularity.
Now that would be interesting because, as far as I can tell, it looks like everything has an opposite. Time and space, day and night, whatever the fuck. So if something stands alone, that would interest me. Even like he said, I will never remember what he just said, but he just gave two opposing sides of the same coin: logic and emotion. He phrased it differently. Logic and love is what he said. But in my head, I heard logic and emotion are opposite sides of the same coin. It makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It
See, now
does.
I think duality is the matrix. That's what we're trying to get out of. That originally we were made in God's image. We were basically perfect. And then we fell from grace. We ate from the tree of good and evil, and we fell from singularity into duality.
Okay.
That's our fall. That's where we fell into the ego and the shadow, into the light and the dark, into right and wrong. Like before that.
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
And we're
I'm
trying to
so glad.
overcome that.
I'm so glad you're on here with some sane motherfuckers, man. Because every time I've been on panel, you get 3 words in, and some maniac just, I never get to. That won't happen.
Man,
with this
you better
crew.
knock on wood or something.
Yes, I hope I didn't curse something, right? I'm sorry, Sarah.
You're all right.
Yeah, I could have held that. I didn't have to interrupt you. Sorry.
Actually, I missed the end of what you were saying there, Sarah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know where you missed.
All right.
We can start over.
Well, you
Thank
talked about the rising above the matrix, above the duality program. I believe that's what we are here to do. Duality exists in this 3D mindset where we're trapped in light and dark and good and evil. But the 5th dimension rising above the duality is the unity, recognizing and embracing the connectivity of us all, celebrating the diversity, but not letting the differences keep us so divided.
I think those are kind of 2 different things. The one where we're all one, that's the other level shit that, the vibration, blah, blah, blah. It's the heavy shit. And the other thing that you said, the second thing, I'm losing it as I talk, that's more worldly shit. Oh, we all need to get along for so and so.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of
global unity of harmony. And then I don't actually think we are all one. I think we are all parts of a whole. We all have our own unique frequency. That's our soul, like fingerprint. But it all comes
wait,
from like the same God spark. That's
if we're all parts of a whole, that doesn't make us one by definition. If we're all one, does that not make us?
There's still ways to differentiate us, even though we're all connected. So like a puzzle.
Very good. So we're
all
both
pieces
at the
of a
same
puzzle
time.
that creates a whole big picture.
Yes, that's the way most things appear to me. We can, and most things are multiple things at the same time. I think we are one, and we are all separate at the same time, even though our minds don't want to tell us that's the real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Amen. Hey, I'd like to, J Hub. Let's hear what
Yeah.
you got to say, please.
I think I always bring it back to the self a lot of times. I think the duality part of it, you know, it comes down to the duality within yourself,
Yeah.
you know, the ego and the shadow. I'm sure everybody knows, you know, that's the work that has to be done before, you
Wait,
know,
wait, wait, wait,
everybody
wait, wait.
tries to save
Mm-hmm.
You
the
say
world
you're
and
sure
kumbaya and bring everybody
everybody.
together.
You say you're
What's
sure
that?
everybody know. You say you're sure everyone knows. I'm very familiar with the ego, but if there's an ego, a story of ego and shadow, as you know, I'm not familiar with a specific story.
I mean, it's not necessarily a story. I'm just talking
Okay.
about the general concepts, you know,
Yes. All right.
of the ego and the shadow self. You got to bring
Yes,
those
that's
two together to be the
Mm-hmm.
wholeness that she was kind of referring to. So,
Yeah. Where you bring the shadow into consciousness, because the shadow is unconscious. It's like repression and things that you've denied, ignored, left in the dark. All those lies that you live, you pull them up. You have to bring them into the light. You have to speak your truth. You have to be conscious and aware.
Jack's like, yeah, I got those.
That's this. It's as simple as that.
yeah, it's too simple. That's the problem, though. You know, it's
But that's how truth is.
no,
It is that
no,
simple. We just
and
complicated out the fuck. Like
exactly.
nobody's business.
It's really simple. It's really not hard, but a lot of times we can overcomplicate it and make it more complex than what it really is.
we do that
You know,
purposely. That's putting on clothes like in the Garden of Eden. We cover up intentionally, obfuscate shit intentionally, right, to cover up.
yes,
Until
and
we
it's for the
learn.
ego to keep existing. You know, you don't want to. It doesn't want to have to deal with itself, so you keep, you know, putting, you know,
Walls and shit around it.
It
exactly.
knows it's guilty.
It
Punished.
knows it's
But
guilty.
hide that shit. Yeah.
Dope.
The ego has it's very manipulative. It's real good at hiding in our blind spots and creating the blind spots. But
it's good for a dopamine rush, and we're all addicts. That's why we fight to keep it. And it knows that shit. It can get you a little fame and popularity, and a couple bitches tell you that was impressive, and suddenly you're God. Go ahead.
I love dopamine.
Yeah,
the
That's the
ego,
shit.
the ego fights for these things until we no longer allow it. That is the entire key of our growing, is in each moment learning how to stay grounded and present and caring and focused, regardless of the trauma we're carrying, regardless of the opinions we're carrying. It's up to us, to what J Hub said, heal the inner being, fix the self.
I know. This just kind of came to me. I know, has everybody seen 8 Mile, the movie?
Yeah.
No.
The 8 with Eminem.
I mean,
So
I know what movie it is. I just haven't seen it.
But it's like, I guess, like at the it was like this guy it was like a battle or whatever, rap, and he was going against one guy, and you know, in the end rap, he basically exposed himself, you know, and he was like, I'm a bum, I live in a trailer with my mom and all of this stuff. And it exposed himself, so the other guy had nothing to come back with, because he had already kind of made himself whole with realizing,
nice tactical,
you know, all his faults.
So you're saying that there's a lesson there. Expose yourself. I think is where you're going with that.
It's kind of like self-realization.
I don't know if I think that expose yourself is a good takeaway, so much as like come to terms with yourself.
Right.
There is a difference. Very good.
Yeah.
become authentic.
What's good, Jess?
Hmm.
I'm good, brother.
Yeah, welcome, Jesse.
I think the point of exposing yourself is those things that you kept secret that others had known about that wanted to use it against you can no longer use it against you as blackmail or to keep you, or as threats.
Yeah.
But you've
Yeah.
already exposed it. They have no power over you anymore.
I got a buddy who always kept an icon up and all of this, and he was very honest. He didn't give a fuck who, if it was your best friend, you do something stupid. He was very honest, so he made a bunch of enemies. And at some point they doxed his ass, and he came back even harder. And that was his argument. You fucked up now. Now that everything is out there, I don't have to hold back. I'm like, what? You were holding back? That was his argument, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
You've got nothing on them. It's already out there. Can't do anything about it. Yep.
I know, like personally for me, I kind of had one of those realizations, like I said it before her. I used to be an alcoholic, right? And but I was like a closet alcoholic.
Yes.
I wasn't going to bars and drinking stuff. I was like, I didn't really come to terms with it myself, right? And then I actually literally like ran off the side of the road, and I was like literally forced to deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had kind of gotten arrogant about it, not like to the point, because it's like
bold.
I've been doing this shit forever. Ain't nobody ever I ain't never got in trouble for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm handling my business outside of this. Who's the fuck gonna tell me what I can do and what I can't
Been there,
right?
been there. Yes.
That's a familiar place.
Yeah.
It's like damn. You know what I'm saying? I fucking wake up on the side of the road and the cop tapping on my fucking glass. It's like goddamn. You know what I'm saying? And then you kind of forced to deal with it. It's like that was in my shadow. I didn't want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But I of course nobody wants that to happen. But
it's like God knows what it takes sometimes. They say
I'm not mad that it happened at all.
They say a lesson is repeated until learned. And if you're stubborn, sometimes they gotta amp shit up a little bit. We can be very stubborn about some things, just in the way you described. And I believe that a third party steps in and will aid you. And for that matter, I also believe the same. Where there are good guys out there, unseen forces or intelligence is helping you. I think there are bad motherfuckers that live to pull you out off your square out there too. You cats believe that?
Mm-hmm.
That there is an intelligent bad guy out there intentionally hopping in your friend, trying to get Jack to be a dick to pull me off my square. You know what Joe fails? He hate that racism shit. Talk about watermelon, blah, blah, blah. And suddenly you got the whole shit in shambles. That was a divine, smart, I don't know if divine is the right word, but one of those ethereal spirits,
Mm-hmm.
Agents of chaos. They're well placed. And this game of life, it can drive you nuts, and it can also, this is our chance, our lifetime to refine our character, to discover who we might be able to become, who we really are. I think I'm pretty sure everyone here on this panel has been open about things of the past, lessons learned, mistakes made, growth that we've been allowed to receive.
Yeah.
This game of life, man, all things, you believe it, it's probably there. And so the power of our mind and our hearts, the individual energies and the frequencies that come forth through each of us, it really affects most the individuals. So please pay attention within you. How are you feeling? Don't deny that stuff. It is important to understand your feelings are a true expression of you within you. This world, though, with all the external values and the material focus, and everyone's focused on the physical part of life, we lose sight of what's really important. What's really
think
important is the future.
I think too sometimes it's got to be a balance, right? You know, that's kind of like even Jesus, people say it's all about forgiveness, but he was really, like the personification. Some people, a lot of times people um will will go like totally to like a spiritual place, and they forget the physical, and it's like they're in fantasy land almost. You get what I'm saying? And then you
I
have other
do, but I
people.
don't know if you're expressing it well. But go ahead. I don't want you to lose your thought.
Yeah, and then other people, have no spirit or morals, and they just, are carnal, just trying to eat, have sex, and stuff like that. So it's like life as human beings, it's about tying both together, the spirit and the physical. We can't
Yeah.
go too far either way. You gotta, kind of be balanced and
Mhm.
you know, um, tie it all together.
Feelings are a direct reflection of focus, instantaneous, best to be understood as a compass to gauge that focus, a divine compass. Can someone break that down for me?
We've got an a divinely created internal guidance system.
Hey, you're saying
Our
follow that.
our thoughts are our thoughts and our feelings are so intimately connected. We talked about this. I mean, the thoughts will fire off our glands. The different glands within our body produce different chemicals into the bloodstream, and we literally physically feel, but it's all directed by the thoughts. And I think this is
That's
probably
really good shit. That's good shit, Jack.
I
instantaneous.
think feelings can also be manipulated, though, that it's not always a divine compass.
Oh, you say
Okay.
feelings can be
The
manipulated?
chemical reaction from your brain is not a divine compass. That's just chemistry.
So
the
you would have to have
operating
the thought.
system.
It would have to be the thought that's the divine compass. If you can get in there with a chemical, is it the thought that
Yeah.
would be the divine compass? Then?
Yes, but they can implant thoughts. They can influence things. So you can't
Yeah.
always rely on your feelings. That's not always a true
But
indication.
that divine compass is there, man. I fucking call it the Holy Spirit, and I live on it.
Yes.
I need
So we
it.
should probably define feelings then, because that I wouldn't consider that a chemical reaction. I don't think that
All
comes
right,
from
you're
the
right.
mind. That comes
You're
from the
right.
soul.
Yes, you are right, Sarah.
Yeah, that's the ethereal body versus the physical body or the mental body.
Right.
What about the intuition?
There's
Intuition?
the feelings.
So we've got our, solar plexus, our gut intuition, and then we've got our crown, our divine intuition. So they kind of work hand in hand. And I think that goes with how we feel opposed to what we're thinking, because the thoughts tend to get in our own ways a lot of the time. And so if you're actually balanced and flowing through your intuitive state, then you're less likely to get in your own way.
I agree, right? It's like hitting that zone that they talk about in sports or something. When you're in the zone, you're not getting in your own way.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know your spiritual aspects aren't really perhaps the biggest influence on your chemical state?
There's strong evidence to support this. I'll finish that off for you. It's 100%.
True.
Yeah, it's 100%, because your spiritual, they say, like, I was listening to an ophthalmologist talk in front of a conference of doctors, medical doctors, and he says, I'm going to put my naturopath hat on opposed to his ophthalmologist hat, his doctor hat. Okay. And he said a lot of ailments that happen in the body happen because of stored trauma, especially as a child. So they start to physically manifest. So that would be, children going through these traumatic situations that forget about it. Like, there was this guy that when we started the High Vibe Love Tribe, is a friend of mine from my hockey team when we were like 10, 12 years old. And he was a friend of mine, but I hadn't seen or talked to him for years. And he started coming, and he all of a sudden he started resonating with this Tibetan singing bowl, and he was very angry because from the time that he was 5 to 15, he got sexually assaulted 10 different times within those 10 years. But he had put that all out of his mind, forgot about it, didn't even remember. Now he was
That's
some
really
big manager of this organization, you know, like a big chain, and he's a high manager. And then all of a sudden he started to remember what happened to him, and he didn't get the physical ailments that I know of, but he started to remember, and he started to get angry, and he had a wife and kids and never spoke to it before because he didn't remember that this stuff happened. He ended up having to leave his wife and kids, go back to live with his mom, lost his job because he became so angry. But when he started hearing the Tibetan singing bowl, the first time in years, he was actually starting to have peace. So I have a friend that's a social worker. We linked him up. There's not a lot of men programs of abuse. It's morally tailored for women. So we got him some help. He's starting to get, you know, dealing with his, you know, trauma. And, you know, now he's got a job. He's back at that organization, but he came at a lower level at a different city. And he's actually starting to manage and function his life again. But, you know, what a crazy situation to feel.
Look at numbers dropping, Joe. Go back to numbers dropping. Oh my God.
Which one? That
That's
one?
somebody named Numbers Dropping.
Yeah.
That's Mitch Lovin. Is my screen acting weird? That's Mitch comment you got up there.
Numbers dropping. Almost all make decisions emotionally and then justify intellectually.
I'm an idiot. I totally have access to comments myself, right? I'm an idiot. I didn't even consider it.
All
I
right.
just did it
It's all right,
myself.
Joe.
Almost all make decisions emotionally, then justify them. A scary truth. Grr, get out, leave, Numbers.
And that's the yin and the yang. The yang is to justify the shitty behavior when you take yourself out of yin.
That leads to Sarah theory of one as opposed to the duality. You're trying to get to one that's interesting.
Oh, there you go. Dissociative identity disorder.
It's
when
a
children
real
are
thing.
abused.
It's a coping mechanism.
Yeah, a survival mechanism for children when they deal with trauma. They become different than their true self.
All right, I gotta say, I watch a lot of these murder investigations, and every time motherfuckers say that, I just assume they're lying. So does that mean that, you know, every time, I killed somebody, I totally forgot. I just assumed everyone was alive.
My ex
Probably
has
wrong.
Well, you
It gets put
can.
behind amnesia walls. If it's so traumatic that's how they can cope with life to move forward. That's how your brain is surviving.
So put it this way. So for a lot of people that have had severe sexual abuse as a child that I've spoken with, they have that where they had to protect their body and they left their body. So they have a lot more heightened senses. Yeah. They're a lot more connected to spirit, to you know, their psychic abilities. They see fairies because in order to protect their own self, they had to leave the body. So whatever was happening to the body, they were disassociated with it, so they weren't experiencing that trauma and the pain and whatever was happening to the body. And so a lot of them have these heightened psychic abilities where force is actually communicating. They see things, they see a lot of things that we don't see because they had to do it as a protective mechanism.
Interesting. I've never heard of that. I never thought of that on my own, but that is fucking interesting because it's logical as fuck. They've been practicing in that realm and they've gotten better at getting there. Interesting.
These lives are amazing. And there's a lot of people carrying unnecessary pain and trauma from the past because they have not yet learned they can heal either from themselves, from their own intentions and purpose to let go, to overcome and move forward, or by the gifts of others. There's a lot of people these days gifted with different modalities, different gifts, connections. These lives are far more spiritual than physical. Seriously.
Can I request something that Jesse repeat what he said, that, or in a nutshell, that Joe was geeking out about? I zoned out, but I want to hear it. My ex-wife has DID. She was diagnosed with it after our divorce.
Basically, he was saying that these kids who dissociate themselves during that trauma take their minds to another place, which means that when they do this other things, or they have to take their minds to another place, and the shit that we talk about, they could be better at it, or it comes to them easier. That's what I was geeking over.
So whether it's fairy tale or just a fantasy world, or it's actually a real place that they've gone to, they tend to have now later on in life this communication with the other side because they've opened that doorway. So they've been able to connect to whatever it is that they're connected to. Like another person, what I heard about, they went into the walls. That's how they protected themselves. So they became a part of the wall, opposed to going to a magical place where they can see these things. So different people have had to do different things to protect themselves from whatever it is that was happening to them. Because if you can feel it, the trauma, the hurt, the pain, it's going to hurt you a lot more than if you disassociate from it and get to another place, and then you're not gonna, have to relive it over and over again.
Check out Guru.
It manifests in different ways if you don't.
And then when the ophthalmologist said a lot of these childhood traumas and people, and it could be anything, it doesn't have to be severe, it could be the bullying, could be a parent freaking out, but when you do have this childhood trauma and that gets stuck energy into the body, so for a lot of people, they start manifesting into physical ailments because they haven't dealt with whatever, and the body is just telling itself, hey, you need to deal with this stuff. So then it starts to manifest into some cancers or other different physical ailments, just to try to wake up the body and just say, hey, there's shit you need to deal with. So this is how I'm going to tell you, because you have to deal with it for you to move on.
Jesse, I think this goes right, segues perfectly into Guru's comment. You're talking about healing. He says healing is really about forgiveness, mostly self-forgiveness and moving on. I think you literally just said moving on. When what is meant to learn is learnt, it's the logical, healthy thing to do. Now we have logic being healthy. It's interesting. It was the devil a little while ago.
Guru a he or a she?
It's a dude. He's a good friend of mine.
Just the name, I just automatically assumed it was. I don't know why.
You wanted it to be female.
I know. I guess it's just preference.
I bet, right? Hey, he's the cat who I call for. When I got heavy shit to ponder, he's the cat. I'll leave him a text, and I don't know what's wrong with his internet, because it might be a week or weeks, and he'll get back to answer. I'll be like, I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about back then. But that's my go-to guy, no Guru.
I'm disappointed in your penis, nude Guru.
You wish it was a vagina, motherfucker.
That it exists. Yeah.
That is absolutely brilliant. What I learned for myself, and I know my path is different than others. What works for one is not necessarily the solution for others, but healing comes from the truth. And through our lives, we're going to go through shit that really, based on all the evidence of the world, is unfair. And it's easy to blame. Well, yes. Blame is an excuse from accepting responsibility. The best way to heal, I found for myself, was accepting full responsibility, not only for what I did or did not do. I accepted responsibility for what others did in front of me and to me.
Why?
And
you can't.
You can't.
I mean, that's on a lot, man.
That still sounds unhealthy to me, and I guess I'm not like criticizing you. I'm just trying to understand it, because it sounds
it sounds illogical, but when I could find a way that I was responsible, then I also found a way to say, okay, who cares? It's done.
There's an Eastern philosophy that says you are responsible for a lot of other people's shit, and
You're responsible for my shit too. Everything I did wrong.
I may be in some small way. It could be true, and I'm willing to accept that.
Quantum entanglement, everything bounces and ripples. So
even cause
and effect. So things that Jack could have done 20 years ago may have had for some indirect effect on you, Flo. So for him,
Jack, why did you make me smoke dope?
Oh, hey, here is my true defense. The humble recognition reminder I gave myself today. I control the thoughts of no one. No matter how hard I've tried, I don't control anyone's thoughts but my own. So,
you do the best you can. Yeah,
pot, that one's on you.
You can't comprehend what others say or do, but you can, deal with how you respond to others, right? That's on you, So, that's where we want to be in that balance.
That's because can't you move motherfuckers around too, though? You can move motherfuckers around. You're only responsible for yourself, blah, blah. Your best shot is yourself. But let's be honest. I could move Jack around. I can get his ear, say the right things, and have him thinking weird shit. All right. So
but Jack is responsible for me. I wanted to just make that clear because I heard you saying something that was contrary to that. He could be responsible for you too, if you want. I can hook you up with that.
On the other side, Jack, on the other side, Jack, with what you're saying, a lot of people have a hard time moving past it because they feel guilty. They feel when they shouldn't, when things have happened to them that wasn't them. They feel ashamed. They feel responsible. They feel guilty. So they have to release that in order to move on because it wasn't their fault, especially things having to do with childhood trauma.
Amen. And Jesse, thank you for that reminder. The guilt and the shame. This society teaches us to carry resentments, guilt, and shame. Oh my God, that was so tragic. You'll never overcome that. That's a possibility. But the other possibility is if I can appreciate myself today, I can forgive myself for the past. I can forgive others for what I thought of the past, and just focus on healing. And that is the key. That is the key for overcoming past limits, to really move past the traumas and the things that have been holding us back. Find the belief within you that you can. And then experience
Jesse, that's what I was giving Jesse a pushback about. He said that you can only control yourself. I was trying to say that may not be true. It looks like you can control others.
Well, you shouldn't, I guess, would be a better say. You shouldn't control what others say or do.
Ultimately, you can.
Is that true?
Because
I try to move motherfuckers around daily.
Right.
And I try to get that bad guy with the cat who I've determined with my arrogant ass is thinking incorrectly. I try to move him around and control the way he thinks. I don't know if control is the right word, but I try to move that.
That's different. That's kicking people in the ass and controlling them, I think, are
very good. Two different things.
People make decisions based on information. You push around information and hope that they make the decision, but ultimately it's their decision. Yeah. And I also want to push back on. I think that if you're engaging with a delusion in order to come to terms with something, it's still not it's not healed,
not healthy.
There's a story flow about a psychiatrist. A guy comes in, says he's King Charles, happy, healthy dude and all that shit, but believe he's the king of England or some shit. Guy's boss comes in and say, have you healed dude yet? And he's like, I didn't think I should. What do you mean? The guys, think he's king. Obviously, he's not. Psychologist says, but he's happy. Shit, I ain't even be able to achieve that. Most of us can't achieve that. So is it really, you say it's unhealthy just thinking he's the king of England? Is it so horrible because he's living in that fantasy?
It's a fantasy, though. I mean, if he doesn't know where reality starts and stops, that's a problem.
That's what I'm saying.
It could be a problem.
That's
what I'm saying. If it's causing you any harm.
If you don't know where it starts and stops, he might enjoy his problem. But the first time he just struts into Buckingham Palace, he's going to have an issue.
assuming he does not go into Buckingham Palace, assuming he lives in the United States and doesn't travel abroad,
even in the
he
United
does
States,
no harm.
if he walks around thinking he's the king of England, I guarantee his relationships are suffering.
But what if he truly was heir to the throne and he got like removed?
You guys are retarded. You guys are all just being
conspiracy shit, and no one believes him because they think he's delusional because he can't get into the fucking Buckingham Palace.
I'm glad she went there personally.
It's real. It's real. I've interviewed a guy from New Zealand who thinks that he's the heir to the throne. There's another guy. He's gone out there who he really believes that he is. Some people have kind of discredited him, but this New Zealand guy, he's it
looks like some might be too.
Hawaiian. He thinks that he's the true heir, and so he's going around, and he's actually been put into. He went to England and everything to try to claim it, and they put him in a mental bin and all. He's been battling.
No, I mean, I think we don't even have to say
really
like
fucked up.
Right. I think we don't even have to say like kings and queens. Like, it's people out here that aren't, or like shit people, but they might say, "Hey, I'm a player. I can get all the women."
Dope.
And they can get women to believe in that they're their guy, right?
Yes.
So,
so you don't have to have grandiose shit. I'm a king. It can be
I'm the king. I'm the king, and I got 20 people, that's getting with my program, and it's obvious that they're not a king, but it's people that will believe in it.
Yes.
I kind of understand like what Jesse's saying too. Like, in a perfect world, we all kind of have the same ideas on, being self-reliant and having our own control of our own minds. But the society we live in is not really like that. And, we kind of got to be aware of what's going on there.
Every direction something is trying to control you, pull you left to right, to up to down, and then there's all the deception that goes along with it. So it's a big total mind fuck just to try to stay balanced through this crazy, kind of game, this matrix or whatever it is. And it's, it takes a lot of courage just to be balanced through it, because it's easy to go off the chain, off the handle from one side to the next. And once you find yourself, and how we were saying that the healing, Jack, when you got to do this inner healing is really important. That's the big message that everybody is sending, do the inner shadow work, right? The dark night of the soul, things. That's a kind of common message, because we have to find who we are before we can actually, be an actual balanced part of this whole that we all want to be, or we're meant to be in.
That's why my channel is called Mindfucked. You just explained it beautifully.
Hey, we're sharing this combined interests, combined goals.
Did you see Guru echo your shit? You probably took it down now, but Guru said,
I thought your channel name was a reference to blowjobs.
Nope. That's only in your head. That's your delusional world.
Or in your head.
Kind of like to the name of a channel, Mindfuck. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying earlier. It's people out here that can fuck people's minds, literally, And
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, so
but that's the devious. That's the devious, right?
No, I mean, it can go either way. I mean,
are they controlling that person, Jesse? That they're fucking over their mind? Are they controlling them? We're back to that definition.
For that situation and circumstance, some people can put more control over others. Some people can have full control over people. Look at Charles Manson and the stuff, how he had full control over all the other people, because he totally mind fucked them to believe that killing was okay.
I mean, it could be for good or bad. Jesus and John the Baptist were mind fucking people, and it's literally like putting your thoughts into another being. You know what I'm saying, and have it resonate with them. It's not. It doesn't.
Wait.
I dig it.
I don't see it as mind fuck.
Hold on.
No,
there is a
fuck is kind of a negative connotation. I'm just talking about the actual idea.
The philosophy.
There's a distinction between offering what is true and then presenting false.
No, I'm just talking about the idea of the fuck. The fuck,
And
you know,
but
it can be a
again, with
good
what
seed or a bad seed.
Oh
It's
yeah, y'all
still
really took that
the
negative
operation of it.
connotation to heart. I didn't see it.
But
I
with
just saw
what
the
Jack
philosophy. I
was
totally
saying,
understand.
though, with Jesus and the rest of anybody, it's actually presenting this idea into consciousness and letting them choose, opposed to actively trying to go and mind fuck them. Jesus wasn't trying to mind; he was presenting them and letting them come the way, which I don't think it wouldn't be the same for me, at least.
I dig it.
You're right. I mean, I take that back. Jesus wasn't like that. All Christians are like that.
My way or the highway. 100%. They're my way or the highway. If you don't believe like me, take a hike.
Not. I don't want to paint everybody with a broad brush, but I'm saying people that if you're not doing it, but you're trying to impregnate somebody else's mind with the thought that you have and get them to, grow that baby and believe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or whatever it is. Yeah.
And not all Christians are like that, but the extremists. There are the extremists, and then a lot of churches fall under that extremist version. So people going to that maybe not adopt the extremist version, but a lot of them do because, for instance,
I hate that word.
Angeleen was telling me, Angeleen was telling me a story about this church and this couple. They were having problems with their baby, and a whole church prayed that the baby was going to be okay. The baby was going to be okay. And then the baby ended up dying. And then they blamed the couple for, that they didn't pray hard enough. They weren't good enough. And it was their fault because the church didn't want to take accountability after so many people prayed for this child. And and then all of a sudden now it just went away from their doctrine. It was their fault that it didn't happen. So that's that extremism. And there is a lot of that going on where that actual word is a good definition for it.
We're all here to share seeds of thought with each other. It's the fruit of who we become. The society, our children, I know I was not taught the power of words, or I was not taught. There's a lot of things our schools are not teaching the children, such as how to be leaders, how to think for themselves.
Not everyone's a leader.
How to understand their feelings.
That's a good point.
How to tap their creative talents. Those things are not taught.
I wish that they would quit teaching how to address their feelings. That they are doing. It's SEL, social emotional learning, and it is in all the curriculums across the country, and I do not like it.
How do they teach them to deal with it? That's what it would depend on to me.
You know what? And I can't answer that. I'm not comfortable in my knowledge to answer that question.
But I could see the logic of teaching the kid how to address their feelings. I can see the logic in that.
I mean, I can see the logic too, but in my opinion, what it essentially is practicing psychiatry without a license. If you're having a teacher get into other people's heads about their feelings and how to address their feelings and what, it's just isn't their place.
I'm sorry, I asked you the question, but I need a minute.
Hold on. I'm sorry. That is the illusion of authority. Like experts are the only ones who can help someone understand.
Here's my personal. You're not wrong. I don't disagree, really. I personally will be the one to mess with my kid's head. How about that? I don't want the institution. I don't want the cycling door of different hour teachers doing it. Personally, I don't want them doing it.
So you like the militant.
I agree that I don't want the school to be teaching my kids certain things. However, I do a lot of psychological stuff, and I don't have the credentials to do it at all, but I feel like I understand it far better than the actual people with the credentials.
100%.
With that being said, I have a meeting in 5 minutes, and I would love to continue this conversation. If you're still going, when I'm done, I'll be back. But love you all.
Where are you going?
Later. I have a meeting in 5 minutes.
That's stupid.
Thank you.
Ignore it.
And as I float through life, because I'm very aware of things, I've helped people psychologically through this craziness because I'm able to see from my view. I've taken people to AA, NA, GA, so I've done a lot of this psychological help without the degree, which probably gave them a lot more help than anybody that had any credentials.
I think it's important to like to be able to give your understanding and your perspective, give somebody knowledge. But sometimes, kind of like to what Flo was saying, to diagnose and kind of get specific and say, "Hey, you this is what's going on with you," and you know what I'm saying. It's that
You can
can
cross the line.
yeah.
You
I mean,
can cross the line.
it's possible. Sometimes it is better to have some kind of structure around that, you know. But it's like for to be able to say, "Hey, you know what I'm saying? These are the concepts. You know what I'm saying?" And that might just giving somebody the concepts and letting them understand perspective that they didn't have is enough for them to be able to do their inner work because it's not about having a meeting with you. You know what I mean? It's really you have to do the work yourself. So I
Right.
mean, but
You can lead them to the
sometimes
door, but they got to turn a knob. Right. You
yeah,
can lead them where
and
they
it
need to go, but they got to physically.
yeah, they gotta want to do it. So
I want to re-clarify that I was not promoting psychiatrists as good authorities. I was poo-pooing teachers as good authorities for this sort of work. I wouldn't take my daughter to a psychiatrist either, or a counselor. You know, there would have to be a real need for it before I'm just going to have any adult tinkering around in her brain and worldview and emotions. And even then, like, we're going to do a lot of vetting.
My nephew went to a. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say with what you said is that they're teaching different genders and all these things that teachers are doing. This shit is freaking out of control, trying to change who and what people are because the teacher is telling them that this is the way to go. This stuff is insane that teachers, even sex ed for, you know, anyone under 13, 14, 15 is not proper.
It's not just
I understand you a lot more now.
People are doing this to each other. They're coming up with all these labels and identifications. And I realize the example you're offering, there's a lot of horrible stories right now. But brothers and sisters, that's the point. There is so much insanity, corruption, immorality, just absolute evil all around this place. And we don't have to take it. We don't have to continue it. We don't have to allow it.
I feel like you're talking to the audience right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. When you do the brothers and sisters thing, I shut up because I don't think you're talking to me. I assume you're talking to the audience.
Because we're not gonna take it
I don't allow it. The minute I saw a survey going around the middle school that asked the kids what sex they were and then what they identified as in the next question, I raised hell, and they discontinued the survey now because of that.
I understand when you said teachers teaching emotion. Now, I don't want my kid to go in there and say, you know, he's curious about something. Their way of addressing his emotion is to tell him you're really a woman. I'm going to want to strangle a motherfucker, right?
I mean, why would you want any just random ass adult teaching kids what they should feel? Especially think about schools. It's like chum in the water. Who's going to be attracted to being around kids a lot?
There's chum in the water.
You know? So I'm trying to say this without scumbagging all teachers. I certainly don't think all teachers are that way or even, I think most of them are good intentioned, but still you've got their intentions. Are they good? You've got their capacity. Are they good? You've got their limited knowledge base. If a kid's got a different teacher every hour for a semester at a time, this person doesn't have a fucking clue about that kid. But if they're empowered to meddle in their brains, then that's a problem.
All right, but what about the I see a benefit though. I would love to have 30 motherfuckers rotate in and out to teach me. Can a parent compete with all of these fucking masters out there? That's what seemed to be the obvious shit, right?
The thing is, they're teachers though. They're not masters. I qualify it to be
all right. I dig it. You ain't got. I dig it. I understand.
And every parent's responsible to mold their child more than an actual teacher who doesn't really care about them. Just one number out of those. Some may care more, but it's the parent's responsibility to mold them how they, you know.
So what do we do?
So we let the parents do it. We keep the government out of it.
I mean, when we want that master, we have vetted masters. if my kid's a chess dude and I can't do it, I got to bring someone in, or some astronomy guy that's over me and my wife. And I need to bring in someone to encourage
We're
that.
still talking about like psychology and messing with kids' heads, right? Or are you just saying in general?
No, I was talking about fucking with kids in school. How do we get them out of school? I was going to, you got to teach them at home. How do you get what the good shit school offer at home? We'd have to have
I don't think the school offers a whole lot of good except for social interactions. Reading, math, the subjects that are important, I think kids could learn in 3 years.
Right. That's why I brought up master, though.
Angeleen's an expert at this because she's homeschooled her kids for their whole entire lives.
I'm sorry, I'm being rude. How are you, Angeleen?
Hey. Yeah, I homeschooled my home educated. I'd like to say I don't like bringing school in the home, but home educated my kids their whole lives.
I don't even say the word.
And yeah, like my youngest daughter just did like a whole few years worth of math in just a couple of months. And because when you have that one-on-one attention when they're ready and they're ready to learn,
that's dope.
They're ready, right? And it's a lot faster than when you're trying to teach a 7-year-old or whatever, because they've got the concepts easier. So yeah, that's true. But the socialization is a mix because in the home education community, it's really bombarded by Christianese and religious brainwashing in a lot of ways.
I've never heard that before.
Then in the school, you have the total
Isn't that weakening
end,
though?
right? It's getting better.
She's not saying it's a positive.
It's getting better, but that is
right.
The foundation of it was mostly based around Christians that wanted their kids to stay Christian no matter what, right? So it's hard to find that community, but it is growing.
Dope. And what about socialization outside of Christianity? I heard that people like karate class or gym classes. They say they ruin their kids and shit to keep them social.
In my province alone, there's over 10,000 home educators now, and the community is huge now. So they have not back to school days, they have park days, they have swimming lessons because there's so many home educators at this point. You can book gymnastics, they celebrate not going back to school. So it's awesome. But basically you can book anything.
Back to school day for you.
Yeah, and the parents would help each other out. So Angeleen is very creative in art. So she would take the kids for art days. Then other parents, they would get together, take them for math days. You know, ones
there's
that are,
a social.
There's a social aspect to it because that's part of the Christian part is that there's a lot of Christian families who get together and do these different things because they were a big community that helped each other out and had that social aspect of it.
That's pretty awesome, I think. I think it's awesome.
It's interesting for sure.
I will say I think I totally agree like what Angeleen is saying, like different people she said she taught 3 levels of math in 3 months or whatever she said in a short period of time, right? And I know personally, like I have my youngest son, he literally reads better than my 7-year-old, and my 5-year-old, and he's just like way past normal levels. And I feel bad putting them in, but I kind of understand too, because he knows a lot. He can read anything, he knows any colors, all the kind of math and stuff, but he's still a 3-year-old.
I understand.
He hasn't been to school, and his social skills kind of suck.
Yes, and you put him in there with some guys too old.
And he won't be ready.
Older kids are good. That's how you learn. People learn from emulating kids. I think that having ages divided up in school is a big disservice.
He's got a fucking point.
Yeah, that's
definitely. Because I take my kid to my child. I take her to a play group every Thursday, and there's children from like 6 months old all the way up to like 5. And so the 5-year-old is teaching the 1-year-old and stuff, and they're like working together, and it's something you're not getting in these.
if you put them all at the same age. Dope.
And Moose is in the back
that's
room teaching the moms some lessons too.
You are.
And
Proven
I feel like
fact, you learn best by teaching, right? So when you got your kids helping each other, they're going to retain the information a lot better.
Sorry,
It'll
I
be
have
a
a problem
competition
with
there. The younger kid
public
will want to be
school.
colder than the other kid. A
and
competition will develop.
like my youngest, they literally play teacher. You know, they play teacher all summer, and my older kids are fucking teaching the younger. Like
Dope.
my youngest son, and it's like they like you said, they really learning, but they trying to teach, you know what I'm saying, just play their role, but they really teaching themselves at the same time. But it's still the social skills. I kind of think my kids in public school, I kind of like I had an incident today, like one of my daughters, somebody was kind of saying stuff to him, and my wife kind of wanted to like take them or move them from their table, and you know what I'm saying, kind of get them away from that person. I'm like, no, they got to learn to deal. That's the point of
That's
going to
what
school, is
dads
learning.
do. That's why
You
you
know what I'm
need a
saying?
mom
It's
and
kind
a
of, you got to
dad. That's
learn
how
to
dads
be able to
think.
deal with people like that, because
Yeah.
it's people like that in the world, you know, that you're gonna have to learn to deal with. You know, that's
Can't
that's
just
the
run
one thing
away
I
from
will
it.
say. One thing I will say about public school is you have to learn how to deal with everybody that's in your community, at least,
That's a
right? That you're gonna
good
be
one too.
around.
Good argument.
And
Right.
Kids watch
the
that.
good people, the stupid people, the people that don't know how to act, the people that know how to
Right.
act, and you got to kind of learn how to.
Ain't no snowflake shit going on when
Yeah,
you
you
go
got
to
to
a
kind of
public
learn how
school.
to you know, be a part of all
Public
of it.
school gets hard.
The kids
Yeah.
watch that, how you respond if you're freaking out, opposed to dealing with things, you know, in an honorable, righteous way. They learn by that example.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's bigger than what you say is what you do. I got a friend, him and the kids were in the car, and he always talks about that, stand up for your rights, blah, blah, blah. When the time came, police pull him over. He didn't do nothing wrong for no cause. He still ID'd with the kids in the car. And he was like, you know, better safe than sorry. I was like, no, nigga, you talk all that Constitution shit. What they're going to remember is that the example when dad did it, he gave up his ID. I'm doing the same fucking shit. Your actions speak louder than your words.
They do. Hey, but I want to circle back to the children learning from children. The only people that have ever watched my child, like that I ever let watch, was 5 children. They're a family in Mexico. They live next to us. They've been friends with me and my wife for many years, and they literally, like, they walked up to her and they just knew how to interact with her, and they knew how to play with her.
I gotta ask, does that mean your kids speak Spanish? That's the only thing going through my head. I'm trying not to be rude.
She's going to. She's only 19 months right now, so she's barely speaking English.
All right.
You know, but it's just the fact that they knew what they were doing,
of course.
Like there was like 10 or 15 adults that have offered, hey, I'll watch your kid, I'll watch your baby, and I say no. And I was sitting there and I'm watching these 5 children, and I'm in awe because these 5 children know more about her than I did.
Stay friends with that family. The Hispanic community is like it's the last niche of family value, like true community, at least that I've seen around. That's one of the things I miss about living in the hood is yeah, and they have great parties all the time. It doesn't matter what the occasion.
All the time.
Filipinos are good like that too.
And it's not even drunk parties.
I thought that Flo being a Trump fan and was talking about build a wall and keep the illegal immigrants out. I thought, I thought for sure Flo would have.
I mean, okay. Yeah, I'm not a Trump fan.
I know nothing about your political point of view, bro.
Yeah, you're right in your direction of assumption, but wrong in the specifics.
All right. Yeah.
Anyways,
it'd be difficult. I'm sorry, I don't want to go political, but it'd be difficult to be a Trump fan with the shit that came out of your mouth a few seconds ago.
Me?
Anyone with that philosophy? I don't forget what somebody was saying, and you was echoing about. You were saying Spanish or Mexicans. I forgot which one. The home value, this and that. Most Trumpers believe, you know, that they're a little better than a fucking Mexican, man.
Yeah, I don't know what they believe.
I just want to point out how Jack's gone missing.
It's fine. I think that it's good for Jack to have regular breaks so that we don't have abrupt ends.
All right. I don't want him to feel like I'm here disrespecting him because
no, not at all.
He
needed a break. He maybe got some food or
see Moose chilling, and then
I was being sincere, bro. That was a sincere thing. I wasn't even trying to throw shade on him.
Why would you assume that you? No, I don't think anyone thought up here.
I'm just giving Moose shit.
Oh wait, I'm talking about Moose. I don't know when Jack left that anyone thought it's disrespectful. I could be disrespecting Jack because he left for a second. Why did you think you were being disrespectful?
Joe, it's
from my patterns, my past reactions.
That's all it is. That's all it is.
I know why.
I still don't understand. By the way.
Okay, well, we can only explain it to you, Joe. We can't understand it for you.
No, you can explain it better, motherfucker.
I truly love
praise God, brothers and sisters. Praise God.
Praise God.
Thank you for sharing this time with us.
Just wanted to say so happy to have Angeleen join us here for J-Hub and Joe. I'm not sure if you met Angeleen. This is my girlfriend and Moose.
I don't believe that.
This
Wait, were you in the High Vibe Club, Angeleen?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God it was you, and I didn't just bust him out with some other chick or something. Yes, I didn't meet you, but I was over there.
I was watching that High Vibe Tribe.
He has to make sure that he doesn't vibe with any other chicks at the Love Tribe.
It's like almost all females in there, but they're beautiful souls, so we love them.
Oh, cool. Drop me that link again. All of a sudden, I feel like having a rave on the computer.
More male energy, you guys. Get in there, get moving.
The same thought came to my mind.
Jack, you take this one. If you need a wingman, call me.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, I got it.
There was something else. Hey.
Topic.
Oh, hey. Well, what I wanted to own what Moose brought up. I recognize how I've snapped at people. And I think I snap at people offline. I share my frustrations more openly offline than I do online. So for those of you, I see Tommy in the chat. He might be one of those. I've been pretty rough with some people. And what Moose was doing is I have in the past many times gotten frustrated when the conversations drift away. So
I knew.
I understood what.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, and Flo's right. By allowing me a break, maybe there's less chance of an all of a sudden let's shut her down, right? So,
yeah, for sure.
I own my patterns. You guys are right.
Especially when you have big panels like this, take your breaks, right? You can leave at any time. You don't have to be, as long as people aren't arguing, you feel you got to mediate. Take your breaks whenever you need, brother.
That's what I'm doing. Go ahead, Phil.
I was just going to say, I didn't recognize the pattern because I've never seen Jack rage quit. I've just seen him rage kick. So that's where my confusion was.
I don't know. What I do believe is somehow, some way, all of our crazy lives brought us to this day. I mean, I never thought I would end up having fun with people I really didn't know publicly on YouTube. I mean, what the hell?
It's a beautiful thing. I've met a lot of these people in real life, like a lot of these people. I've met them, and it just gets better. I haven't been disappointed once, Joe, and I mean a lot of people.
I hope to be one of those one day, brother.
Odds are great that you will, man.
Jack, you need to make a cross country road trip and just do. I have a buddy who did that from a different community, but people he met on YouTube, he went all over the country.
I did that.
It was great.
Well,
Joe,
need to do like
visiting Kansas
Gump.
City.
Just take off.
I've been to Kansas about 9 times, yo, at least.
We've met people.
Me
all
and
over
Joe aren't
North
friends
America.
anymore.
and we're going to get a trailer and we're just going to go from place to place all across Canada, then through the States and into Mexico. And we just want to go meet everyone, do a high vibe love tribe with everyone, maybe interview people in persons, and just kind of like take what we've done online, but actually do it in real life as well. And I think
if you take that high vibe shit on the road with you, you're going to end up looking like a Grateful Dead tour. You're going to have the love tribe just stretched out for miles behind you.
You're a god.
It's gonna be Woodstock at the end.
The trucker convoy, but it's the love tribe convoy.
Yeah,
we're gonna need more glow sticks.
I'm thinking about traveling. I'm trying to get a van. My guy got it and hook it up for some travel like that. We've been looking at that shit, man. I would love to join you on a high vibe tour, in half a year or so.
Go ahead. Well, I was just going to respond to a comment. Someone said Jesse is a nice hippie. I'm more of a Rastafari, but hippie works.
Because he smokes weed. That's what that is.
No, I've been doing dance hall DJing on a radio station dance hall for the last 30 years, and so I'm definitely a Rastafari. Was in Jamaica painting my buddy's house. I definitely.
I feel like you left the last part of that word off. Rastafari. Right.
Oh, it's Rastafarian, but it's Rastafari. I Rastafari. J-I-N-I.
I gotta let the cat out. It's pissing me off.
Jack, topic today. I didn't see it before I came in.
I always knew he was a cat dude. He's one of those old cat dudes.
It's overcoming past limits.
Yeah.
That's the topic. I heard what you guys were talking about at the beginning, and it was a topic I'm really passionate about because, just with psychology and the brain and the nervous system and memories held in the body and all of that stuff is stuff that I've really had to dive into and overcome. So I like that topic, definitely.
I got to address Moose's slander. It's my daughter's cat. She got it for her birthday one year, for Christmas one year for her mom. I had no choice in it. I do like cats better than dogs, though, because they leave you the fuck alone. Okay, sorry.
Amen.
Jack,
don't get so mad about it, bro.
Overcoming limits.
Tell me what to get mad about.
I love cats.
Jack, overcoming limits. So what's the limits that you've had to overcome?
I kind of touched on some of those. I've shared a lot of it in my stories, but
give me the very recent. Give me the most recent one. Don't go old.
My faith is the greatest one. I've been expanding the limits of my faith in ways.
Yeah. Is that overcoming? Well,
I'm sorry. The most obvious for me was the weight loss and the pattern of drinking.
Good shit. That's very good shit. Both are like God tier shit, right? I hear that both are. I don't drink, and weight loss isn't a thing for me, but I hear it's brutal. Like I can tell you about getting off of heroin. It sucks.
That's one
I should try getting off a Klonopin.
I don't even know what that is.
Jack, did you put then spiritual limits on yourself, and then you had to overcome the limits that you put on yourself?
Thank you. What I realized, my drinking, my depression, my fear, all of that came from my own limiting beliefs. And I found when I started paying attention to what I was thinking and what I was doing, when I really consciously started paying attention, I started noticing how many times I talked myself out of doing anything. And so then I started to wonder what might happen if I did those things that I said I couldn't do. And I'd already stopped drinking by then, so I knew I could do things. I knew I could make great changes, but
I'm trying to think of the shit that I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to overcome right now.
I think a lot of times our limiting belief systems come from the realization of the work that we're going to have to put in. I mean, a lot of time most of us understand what our limits, why we limit ourselves. And that's because it's a lot of work that you got to put in, a lot of consistency. You know what I'm saying?
My man.
If it's dealing with alcohol, you got to deal with that day after day. If it's losing your gut, you know what I'm saying, or getting in shape, you want a six pack, you got to go to the to the gym day after day and put work in. That's
why we
the
created
work.
juice.
You know what I'm saying? It's easy to have an idea. Everybody can have a great idea.
Dream.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to put the work in to get the results is the hard part. And that's why, people, it's easy to just say, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't go to the gym today. You know what I'm saying? If like me, I used to work out every day. But once I start having kids and, you can make 1,000 reasons
why you can't
make it to the gym, right?
Yep.
You can make 1,000 reasons, you know what I'm saying? But once you start going and you see the results, you don't make them same excuses anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
You got the time. You can make it happen if you want to.
It's true.
I want to throw kind of a counter to what you're saying. I think you're absolutely right. Most of our limitations come from the realization, oh shit, this is going to be some work. I'm going to have to make some changes. But when we bring the spirit in, when the spirit comes into the equation, my weight loss, it was like a shift within me. It was a transformation of my values. And what you just said
I see
too,
logic
Jay,
there. I see logic there, Jay.
Going to the gym and then the kids, your values change. But once you get back in the gym and you're able to balance that, man.
I can see how your spirituality could make your weight loss easier or your separation from a drug or something easier.
Also, the more convenient you can, and the more
Jesse.
convenient. No, it's okay. Also, the more convenient you make things, it's easier to keep on track. So I had this house that had the whole top floor, the loft of the house, where I had my bed, I had my weight bench, I had my kick bag, I had my pool table, my DJ set. It was great. But my weight set and my kick bag was on the other side, and I rarely used it. And I'm like, I have this thing, and I moved it right next to my bed, so that way, as soon as I got out of bed, I seen it right there. And then I started using it every single day. It was 10 feet closer, but that 10 feet closer made the biggest difference because it was right there, bam, that I couldn't make an excuse that I didn't see it. But that 10 feet, I'd walk by, I wouldn't look over at the weights. I'd be going right back. I just wouldn't see it. And it's like when we've had like living on the lake, when you live on the lake, you're much more likely to use the lake. Opposed if you're 1 block away, you got to make that effort to go to the lake and actually use it. You're not going to use it as much, even though it's only 1 block away. You're less likely to use it as if you just have it right outside your back, right outside your back.
So how else could I apply that philosophy? I need to keep whatever it is that I'm going to use close. So that would be, I'm just locking it in my head. Spiritual shit, whatever stoic shit I thrive on, I need to keep it close.
Keep your tools close.
It's still the work, though. I ain't gonna lie. Me, it's like you say, overcoming past limits. I've had literally 3 gym memberships. I got the dip bar and stuff. I went and got the weights. I went and bought a couple $100 worth of supplements and stuff. I got it all mapped up. You know what I'm saying?
But it sounds like you're supporting Jesse's argument. It sounds like you're supporting Jesse's argument. The only way you pulled it off was to bring it close to you. At the gym, you made excuses. You get it close and you use it.
I've used that dip bar 3 times. I've used that dip bar 3 times. It's like a year and a half old. No, the point I'm making is you still have to put the work.
Maybe not.
You have to break that
Everyone's
chain
wired
and shackle. You have to break that chain and shackle and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do it." And I don't want to say it's like that for everything. Some people belief systems, limiting beliefs. Some people, if you're a Christian, if like for me, I grew up in a Black Baptist Christian church. That every level of that is another limit and another perspective.
So you're no longer
that doesn't get the same perspective that everybody else does. Do you kind of get what I'm saying? Like
you're still a Christian,
that's
Jay?
not.
You still a Christian? Are you still a Christian?
What was I saying?
No. That's all you need to say.
Right, the hesitation was enough, right?
No. Honestly, let me be all the way honest with y'all. So,
man, we
appreciate I done been down a bunch of roads, right?
Yeah.
One thing I would say about churches, is the society and the fellowship. I'm in the Bible Belt, so it's completely different. It's like all kind of stuff, and it's easy for me. You know what I'm saying? If you got your certain belief system, right? It's extremely hard to kind of put that up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And have a framework and a structure. That's what people don't understand about the church and everything. And it's like a structure and a framework that's there, for morality.
I think you're saying that even though you don't consider yourself a Christian, or maybe you still do consider yourself a Christian because of the fellowship there.
I don't want y'all to see my micro emotions, so go ahead.
Let it be your soul, man.
You're saying that something is good about Christianity, that fellowship and so and so. It's crucial. You're saying at least that much, yeah.
It's better than a lot of our alternatives, I think I would say too.
No, I don't. I'm not going to talk.
I was just going to say, once your mind starts to expand and you start to see the whole bigger picture, you start to get out of alignment with some structure that's telling you that your spirituality has to be in a box. And I think that's why a lot of people end up, kind of moving away from some of these churches, because they see the God as the whole, not just you have to follow these rules, otherwise you're a bad slave.
Yeah, right.
Kind of, I think I said this before too, like Jesse, like it's one thing to be extremely simple and not overcomplicated, right? Like my grandfather was the same, Southern Baptist Black Christian guy, and he believed in Jesus to the point where he embodied those principles, right?
Very good.
And I know a lot of people in the South that kind of live that life. So to say that he would, and they're some of the best people to be around, even though you can point out, even though you can go and learn different ideas and stuff like that, and different concepts that totally go against what they believe, the people that they become from that.
Ooh, it speaks for itself.
It is on a whole different level, just because some information that contradicts it.
I love it.
You can't go against the person that they become. And
my people are from the South. I see it in them.
The Christian evangelical, you can say a lot about them, but the people that they are, for the most part, they hard to compete with as far as people in the society and people to emulate and stuff like that. Let's just be all the way honest.
I'll agree with that.
You're gonna get a little pushback from some people somewhere. I'm just assuming.
No, you can't push that point, but I don't think from my experience.
I think that he's right. I agree with it.
Yeah,
Jack, you wanted to say something?
Thank you. What you said, I think what I understood from you is the impression from the results that some of these religions can bring. And if I understood that right, recognizing my own path, I turned away from churches and religion, and I don't know, maybe there was good examples for me to see, but I didn't see any. I didn't see any good examples coming from any of the churches, from any of the people I met. They were a bunch of hypocrites and sinners and liars. So, but near the end of my drinking, I give it to God. My eyes were opened and God allowed me to meet a pastor who presented himself as though he believed, and he actually tried and followed that way. And that impressed me.
Go to a small city in the South somewhere, in the middle of the sticks, that believes in Jesus.
They are incredible.
You'll meet the nicest person. Yes. You know what I'm saying? They might have a lot of flaws, but their character and the person that they are and how they treat people and stuff like that, it's completely different.
People from Little Rock,
you can say what you want about, you know, you can say what you want about a lot of stuff, but those, I mean, if everybody got their flaws, right? But you don't see that in a lot of, you know what I'm saying? I've, you know what I'm saying? My son middle name is Khalid, right? Right. My daughter middle name is my. I done been down all these spiritual paths. Is kind of what I'm getting to, and then it all comes back to, you know, results at the end of the day. That's why I'm kind of where I'm at right now, is because it's no other you know, way that you can get around the results. You know what I'm saying? All these other, you can go down your spiritual path and all that kind of stuff, but the results that, you know, the people that I want my kids to be, right? I want them to be like that. It's maybe I'm being lazy and I don't want to put in the work, right? To go be that guy that's gonna change the world and, you know, see it in the way fit that I see it. But you know, as far as the results go, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
But you are through your children.
Yeah.
I
And you
like
know
I
what?
grew up in church and it was like it was crazyville and all over the place. In the end though, like it was very hard. Like if you
What
found a
church?
really good church, I'm glad. I've been through a lot of different religions. In the end, I wound up loving the Baptist Pentecostal, the kind of more wild free ones, more focused on love and freedom and the dancing and worship, because
That's
the
the speaking
energy
in
in there
tongues.
is speaking
That's the
in
speaking in.
tongues.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff, right? Healings, watching people go down in the spirit and come out just alive with their own encounter. Like all of that stuff was amazing, but it was also very mixed because it has its limit in that it also teaches you to that God is love, and then simultaneously that you have to fear God, and it can sometimes, or what does God expect of you? Does he expect you to hang on a cross as Jesus did and whatnot? So then you wind up getting into this conflict of in your head of, am I loved or is he disappointed? Am I okay with him or am I in trouble? Am I enough? Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? And it's actually really, I agree with you that good people can come out of it depending on the church. There's like 45,000 different denominations of Christianity.
Right.
So you need to be careful. And Pentecostal Baptist is a very, very small percentage of that. And they're a little bit more free. But
generally
you
speaking, you
can.
think that the church people suck.
No, most church people suck. We can agree on that. But I'm talking about you will find a few people that you can call them ignorant or dumb enough to really believe that I don't maybe I
No,
don't
you
I
understand. We understand, bro.
no, but like
You-
kind of ignorance is bliss. You know what I'm saying? You can be ignorant to like I'm kind of speaking
your
where I'm coming from
character.
because I'm like I said, it's country people. I'm talking to my perspective. This was before the internet. You know what I'm saying? Before social media is where I'm getting drawing these concepts from. So maybe it's not like that anymore, and maybe I'm hoping for something that don't even exist anymore. Right?
Oh man,
You,
J
you know
Hub.
what I'm
I was
saying?
I
I
zipped
thought,
out. I didn't catch that
hey,
shit, and you cats responding. What
what
the fuck did I miss?
what you were saying, J Hub, whether real or imagined, I believe in that there are people who, you know, they're not here to change the world, but they are changing the world by being the example.
Didn't you just say the opposite about people at church?
There's good and bad in all things.
Oh, it's a lot of bad. I knew a lot of bad people in there, but the best examples of people that I met were people in there that really believed it. You know what I'm saying? And
lived it
and
and breathed it
and lived it
actually,
exactly.
It
yeah,
has
that actually
strong
was a good
morals and commitment, and they're willing to push through things, especially when it comes to marriage and family and being good people. And they're really like willing to push through that, which teaches them things I think a lot of the world just throws to the side, like what's easier, what's easier. It's all about me,
Yeah.
love me, right? Or so there is a lot of really strong people that come out of that. And I think a lot of them, though, as they get revelation, they hit a plateau because, like, for me, when I was doing street healings and feeding people on the streets and all this kind of stuff. And we started hitting like these walls with the church of like, you have to, if they experience something, you have to make them say the sinner's prayer and get them to come to church and convert them. And right. And that's where I started having a problem, because I'm like, why can't people just have an encounter with love and then have their own relationship with love from there? Like, why do we have to convert them and make them say the prayer and bring them into it? Like
I understand
really
a billion% is brilliant, right? And it will make you look down on the church because y'all see the flaw in that logic. What's most important is let someone be themselves, and you're just trying to help them. Where does the conversion shit come in? I could see that. Yeah, I got an issue with that shit.
I think Angeleen and Jesse are both wilder people than in first impressions.
I was telling
the longer I sit around with them, the more I just catch little glimpses of pure insanity, like street healings and shit. I don't even think I've seen a street healing. I don't even know if I'd heard about a street healing until now.
Angeleen, I know Jack, you wanted to say something, but Angeleen can tell you a story about what they do. So they would actually, remember when you were saying they write down and they got to look for somebody, and they have all these signs. They go around looking for somebody who's got a blue shirt or said certain things. So tell us the story. Did treasure hunting. So tell us how you find the people.
A lot of healing is learning to be obedient when you're scared. So when you're getting something, like, you go for it. But we used to do group healings. We call it treasure hunting, where everyone kind of get together and maybe we'd put on some worship music, spend some time alone with God, like source, whatever you want to call it now. But then it's God, right? And you would just write anything on a paper that would come to mind, whether it was like a giant M or the color red or a blue balloon or whatever came to your mind, and name anything you'd write on a piece of paper. Then everyone would come together and look at those clues. And then we'd all jump into vehicles and go follow those clues. See, I feel like we should go this way. We'd see like a giant M. Oh, maybe the McDonald's. Oh, there's a kid.
Tell me, how effective has this been?
Wait till you hear this.
Weird things, right? So then we'd find our person that whatever all our clues are leading us to. Sometimes we'd find 2 or 3 people, but we'd go and we'd show them. We'd be like, hey, we're on a treasure hunt. These are all the clues we got in our spirit, like that we all got separately, and it led us to you. This is like how much you're loved. God led us to you because he wants you to know you're loved. And then the more obedient and brave you are, the more downloads you would get. Whatever you want to call it, I don't care. It's like whatever, we can put labels on things. But
I'm not judging it. I'm not even Christian. I think it's interesting.
It is divination in a way. I don't think
it's letting source guide the way. It's getting messages.
Cannot source connect with us in a million different ways?
No, it can. Stop being defensive about it. It's not meant as an attack. What I'm saying is, it seems like inconsistent because you were in a church at the time, right? So that just seems like an internally inconsistent thing for the church, but I wasn't meant critically.
I was a little bit of a rebel in the church, which is why I'm no longer a Christian, because we would push things because we believe God could do more than what they were saying. We didn't believe it should just be stuck in the church. We believe that it was for everybody. So we went out there and we like even just making sandwiches for people and handing them out, and maybe like growing out people's feet and stuff for back pain or whatever it might be, whatever you get in your head. It's like an act of faith builds your faith. It's like that lady has back pain. You're kind of getting this message in your head. When you have the guts to go to somebody and be like, hey, do you have back pain? That's scary to go and be like,
does it work? I missed that part. Someone came in and I missed. When you get there with the people and you tell them this is the message, what type of responses do you get from those people?
Often they're like a little bit stunned and ready to receive, because who isn't like in awe of being like, wow, okay, I'm curious now. The biggest thing is opening up their curiosity, right? Because everybody wants to be known by love. Everybody wants to know that there's something more out there and that thing loves them, like on some level, right?
See, Jack, if you approach people like she approaches people, they'll be more accepting. You know how
I'm gonna go out on
when
a
it
limb
comes to the life
she gets a
coach
better
thing.
success rate than a man.
Most men.
And what I'm saying is her approach is like a loving, caring, like low tone kind of thing. When the other day you were trying to life coach somebody and you were more of a higher tone, I felt like it was more aggressive. and
these motherfuckers need to be healed.
No,
Moose.
I understand that. And I agree with him, and I agree with what he was trying to do. I'm just saying she has a different approach, and I was just saying how he might use a little bit of that approach in his approach and soften it a little bit. It might work a little better. You know, I like to take things from people that know how to do stuff, and I take a little bit from here, take a little bit from there, and then I make my own, you know, and I refine it. That's how I live life.
Each situation and circumstance is different. How you approach people would be different, and everybody's approach is different based on who and what they are. So what works for one person, you know, what their physical, the way they are, the way they present may not work, may not be beneficial for someone else.
One thing I had to learn is that I had to take myself out of the picture. It has nothing to do with me. You can't go with an agenda or a plan. You can't. You have to have guts to be like, okay, if you're at a point where you're like, okay, if God loves this person and wants to reach this person,
very good,
and I can be brave, then God will unfold it somehow.
You're making yourself available. You're making yourself available. So
you're the conduit.
You're just the conduit. It's like, I'm not healing you. I'm not the one who led me to you. It's like, I just kept being brave, and here we are. And every time I say a word, I get more and I get more and I get more. And hopefully, and sometimes we can put ourselves in there and get in the way and screw it up and whatever, but we do our best and we get better as we go. And the more we can take ourselves out of the way, the better, because God is pure love. That's how you learn that God is pure love and nothing else, is through experience.
Do you understand why he said divination? Because I saw it, and never before he even said it. You're fucking, you know, using your spiritual stuff to find certain people. I saw it as he said it.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's, yeah.
Have you
actually, I think that part of the, I just want to say, I think that part of the reason, I'm open to the fact, or to the possibility that part of the reason why divination is frowned upon in Christianity is because it is of God.
At least for some people, it's logical.
As crazy as that is, it's weird because people want to believe. They say, I believe in God, but yet they don't want to acknowledge there's angels, there's spirit around, there's messages. They seem to discredit the magnificence of what this source and creation is because they want to put in their own little box. And if it doesn't fit in their box, then they don't align with it. Yeah. And that's really sad because you can't put God in a box.
They're often afraid of things that can lead people away from their religion. That's why they try to keep it in our box, our thing, because as soon as you start branching out, there's a chance of you getting lost. So they try to scare you about
followers
that, right?
And shit. That's dope. It's logical, yeah. And it's spooky too that a church would start to indoctrinate people or be so nefarious that they're thinking, listen, we got to keep them away from that other church down the street or that mosque or so and so because they may leave us. We got to, in most cases, this is why I don't like religions. You got to slander, slam, and curse the other religions to get those people to stay. You got to say you'll go to hell if you're not a Christian, or if you believe this, you'll die. You got to say crazy shit when you're religious. It always seems to go there. No one says that. No, be your own self. We're Christians, but be your own self. Muslims, you're doing well. Sure, you can get into heaven. No, all Muslims must die. All Arabs must die. Crazy shit.
Yeah.
Everybody got a different perspective. I know.
There's lost people everywhere in Christianity, outside of Christianity. We're all hungry. We just want to encounter love, and we want to know it for ourselves. And that's the most.
I would agree. That would be Jesus, love. I believe that's Jesus. You know, literally, I believe when I experience love, that's a little piece of Jesus, man. I chase that shit.
That Christ consciousness.
It's only our minds that can prevent us from feeling that. Because the Spirit of Christ is eternally present. It's eternally there. The intelligence of God, it's within us. It's around us. The intelligence of God is. Now, what we think about what has been revealed through the intelligence of God around us or within us, meaning how we feel about the feelings we feel, how we feel about the thoughts we're thinking, how we feel about the moments the day reveals to us. It's all up to us. The whole point of these religions is to know love beyond the physical
Praise
realm.
God. Praise God.
I don't know.
I don't believe it.
It should be. It should be, but they use fear to lead the way.
All right.
Tell you what,
People stuck.
in the greatest purpose, God, I believe God's intentions is for good. So all that is good is created, but then mankind, through forces of our own and other forces, perhaps, we manipulate, we distort. But the truth is that which is pure, and that which is pure, it's all of us. Until we carry these toxicities, these negativities, these darknesses. I don't know how God
Who's
works.
going to push back? I saw Angeleen and Jesse go for it.
Go ahead.
Angeleen, you go.
I saw all the micro emotions flow.
I was just gonna say everything's a step. Everything's a step, and we're gonna find what we need right where we're at. So I mean, even if Christianity is your next step, and you jump in there, and there's the darkness and the light in there, and all the fears and the freedoms and all of that, it's where you're at. And our job is to just keep growing and connecting, and we're gonna go where we need to go. Like the biggest thing is not being afraid of anything. Like if you're in your position with love, just keep helping people connect on that higher level and trust their own journey. Like
See, the Christian church don't
are we
teach
bigger
that.
than source? Because I don't think we're bigger than source. Because if we connect people with source, do we not trust source with their journey? Right? Our job is just to keep reminding them of that love. That's it.
Lead them there.
I think kind of like what was the other chick that was on her earlier, Mindfuck?
Sarah.
She was kind of saying like everybody is their own person, right? And everybody has to be their own person. You know, Jack, if you're only here, you know, if your purpose on this planet is to do a certain thing and you can perfect that, then you know what I'm saying? That's your purpose.
Praise God.
I think a lot of times people try to get it too broad, and then you can't really focus in on what
I love it.
You know
Yes,
what I'm
he
saying?
might
What
be
your
want to be
true
an
purpose
artist or
is.
something.
Yeah.
His purpose might be something else, and everybody else doesn't know your purpose is to go out there and save a soul or fight the system. When he might be a fucking artist or a
I
musician.
don't want to. It sounds like I just went against the whole topic because I'm trying to limit. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know because I think you've been saying that right throughout the night that you had to make some sacrifices to be with your kids, and you don't do the freedom fighter shit. You know, you'll save it for the next generation. I think you kind of been saying that.
I can't save the world.
It's hard to understand you, Jay, when we can't see your micro expressions because you're selfish.
Yeah, I'm being selfish. But I know.
It's not godly, bro. It's not godly, bro.
No,
I don't think anyone here is judging you for being a Christian in any way, shape, or form. I think it's beautiful that you found a good thing, and it's good for your kids and where you guys are at. And
I'm a judge them. I've been waiting.
Don't put me in the box. Don't put me in the box.
Listen, I don't know what box you're in. I was going to judge them anyway. I don't mind.
Who are we judging? I want to judge. Who are we judging?
Go ahead, judge me.
Fuck it. All right, we're gonna.
Is it? Joe, are we ganging up on J-Hub?
Yeah, tag team.
Are we ganging up? Oh, we might. I was about to go in a little bit. Maybe.
All right, you take it. You take it.
Okay.
And if you start slipping, I'll go.
Yeah. All right. Whatever your truth is, if it is or was Christianity, which I have a lot of things about there admire, or whether it's just be truth, honor, whatever it is, I think its directive is for you to speak it. The more it speaks, you speak about it, the more it'll speak about you, type of shit, right? And here, when given an opportunity, you are dancing, right? I don't know how much you're speaking, giving that truth, whatever it is. So I don't know how much you're dedicated.
Look at
Thank
God.
God
May
is
not
trying
be
to
the
take
it may not be the
Look at God.
dedication as much it is getting, people get attacked for certain things. So people tend to, be a little bit more hesitant to share their beliefs, because they don't want to be put in a box and be labeled like some other extremists that are in that box.
Yeah,
Joe,
that's
Ain't that
that's
called
why
cowardice?
that's
That's called
what no,
cowardice. Yeah. Yeah.
you call it what you
Cowardice.
want. I don't want you to think that you
I
gonna
was asking Jesse.
if
I
I
was
say
asking
listen,
Jesse.
if I say I'm
Yeah.
Christian, everybody here has already got
You assuming some
predisposed,
shit.
you know what I'm saying? They're gonna put me in
Yeah.
a certain box and think that I think a certain type of way, and that's just not me.
Yes.
You know what I'm
What's
saying?
weird though,
So,
you
And I
didn't
don't
feel
think
that
it's
way about
coward, but I
saying
don't.
I was a mechanic or
But
a
that's
gym
different though.
teacher. You don't feel that
Spirituality
way.
is nobody else's business though. That's why it's not cowardice, because
Girl.
that's nobody's
Girl.
business how people
Girl.
connect. So, if people
Girl.
want to be upfront with it and be bold with it, that's up to them. But if people just want to have it to them and only them and don't have to flaunt it anywhere, that's not coward. That's not cowardice at all.
That's hard to
let me
accept, man. I think we have
no.
an edict to represent that while we're here. I think it's one of our main purposes is to spread that
But some
actively.
are bold as a lion, some are not. Some are a little more timid. Just because you're bold as a lion doesn't mean others have to be that
I'll
bold.
give you that, of course.
Look,
of course,
I agree with Jesse. I still want to attack J-Hub, but we'll find something else. But Jesse's the thing is that I don't know why.
J-Hub was solid. He took
but
it
God,
solid, bro.
Typical white
wouldn't
dude
need
trying to
people
pick
do
on the
his
black
work.
dude. I see how it is, Flo.
Moose, I'm just tired of picking on you. But
I'll take
God,
my lashes. Come on.
But Joe, I don't see. I hear a lot of people say that, and I don't know why God would need people to do what I think is His work for Him.
Yes, I wouldn't think that He got us out here as a bunch of soldiers. I picture us as a bunch of kids. We think we're all that. We sit around, we talk about, of course, God, I'm the greatest so and so ever, and we need to see this in order to learn. And we're refining ourselves more than proving something to that dude.
I think if anybody,
go ahead.
Anybody who believes that God is actually in charge should also believe that we all know exactly what we should know at that point in time.
I don't understand what that means.
Like I said before, I don't believe in the Sky Daddy. I think the Sky Daddy is a detriment to all of society. It's a lot of stuff. I can go down a lot of, what I'm saying, rabbit holes because I done been down all of them. But like for me specifically,
we dig rabbit holes here, by the way.
Specifically,
we're rabbits, actually.
We're rabbits, literally.
But specifically, I don't want to. I like to just be. I don't want to have to preach to you. No, I don't want to have to preach to you and tell you who I am and tell you what to believe in. If I can be, you know what I'm saying?
If you're under something good, I want to hear about it. If you got any fucking conviction of what it is and it's good, I want to hear about it. Perhaps it could benefit me, bro. There's no reason for you to be selfish.
But he'll say it when he feels he needs to.
That's kind of what I'm explaining to you is not to just, it's no one way. And just to say that you just going, I can't, people, it's kind of like the society we live in now. People want to Instagram 59 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Understanding of what life is and stuff.
Yes.
It's not like that. You gotta go through it, and understand it.
And then when you go through it, the great thing about meeting other people, I don't have to go through the hours and hours and the shit, that bullshit and good times you did. Because when you come around, I can share them with you. If you're unwilling to share a certain section, I just missed out on that section, man. Maybe I'm just a fiend for this shit. That is my quest. This shit. Huge fan of God, fan of Jesus. I've never been to church, but man, woo, they're real and all of that shit. So any Christian, hats off to them. Jehovah's Witness, any religion, anybody just doing that shit. A Jehovah's Witness come in my head, knock on the door in my neighborhood. He's a God. I can't even fucking question that dude, man. Something about him God probably digs, man. That's fucking courageous.
I mean, like I don't want to tell you what to believe, but I can tell you my story, right?
That's all I want to hear, Daddy. Yes, I'm a fucking free thinker, man. You don't worry about influencing me. I'm arrogant.
I grew up Baptist my whole life, went to church every Sunday, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I came a time, as every man does, he wants to reject everything that he ever learned. Everybody gets to that point. You know what I'm saying? And say, I want to go to my own. I want to understand shit differently. I don't believe my mama. I don't believe my daddy. I don't believe
it. What age, if I could ask?
Everybody gets to that point in their life.
What age?
You know, I went down all the rabbit holes. I can show you my library. I got all the books. You know, all the fucking.
But you don't want to change the world. So what is the point? What is the point?
My point is I can't change the world. That's the difference.
According to you, correct. Right. we can, we think we can't, we are correct. But just because it's not the priority of you, there's other people who do have that goal. And maybe you can find ways within your
Wait, you're giving up.
Maybe you can find ways to help others who are dedicating their time.
Well, okay. I thought we agreed earlier that we could move people.
Library, Jack.
Wait.
I
reject him saying he can't move people around. I thought we came to the conclusion earlier that you can't influence people. So say you can't change the world. Maybe you can't get the goals that you want, but you know from earlier conversation that you can have an effect and move it in a direction that you prefer or think it should be.
That's the point. And through all of these books and all of the stuff I read, the easiest thing to change is yourself. And
that's the best way.
That's the best way to change the world is to change yourself.
Yes, I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying about moving others. I'm talking about that part.
Whatever you want. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about not be yourself. Change yourself and all that, but simultaneously, man, you can be influence the world. It ain't like, I can only change myself. You can do both. I can only take care of one kid. You can take care of two.
Everybody's not the messenger though, right? That's
good influence on your kids, good influence on your community. That's changing the world. The more you change your surroundings into a better way,
that's not a counter argument to what I'm talking about. I agree with that argument. It is absolutely true, but it's not a counter argument to talking to others.
Amen. I'm ready to wrap this up. All this argument.
Look what you did, J-Hub. It's because you already changed the future to change the world.
I mean, I understand the idea of acceptance and allowing everyone to play their part, but fuck oh dear. When is the world going to be bad enough for us to care about changing this?
Jack, you're never going to convert people that way.
This is what you did, Jay.
We have to allow for others before we decide, hey, enough is enough.
No, Jack, that's like a part of my journey again. I read all the books. And you get that enlightenment, and it makes you want. No, let me finish. It makes you want to change the world, and when you really realize that you can't, literally go crazy. It will drive you crazy when you feel like you got all the answers because nobody wants to listen.
God, hey J-Hub, faith in God. If you want to believe with God, you cannot change the world. Guess what? God's going to prove you right. You will not change the world. I'm encouraging you today, the topic, overcoming past limits. What if?
Praise God.
No, I think that
Jack, let him finish. Let Jack finish. I wanted to hear what Jack wanted to say. Finish, Jack.
I just wanted to offer sometimes that little doubt, to allow ourselves some skepticism, to think beyond the impossible. It opens the door. Thank you for listening to it.
Yes,
I received it, Jack. I really did.
My man. I dig it. I ain't got to follow up. You right?
There's not a lot of people who would have received that. I don't think.
That's dope.
We are all on our perfect paths. I mean,
dope. I agree.
It may have been a struggle. The future may even look.
It is. I'm sorry, but you make me think, Jack. The perfect path includes a struggle, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
I was reminded there's a channel I follow that does animated series, pretty popular. They did one today about the hero's journey.
What series?
That might be the topic for
you like cartoons? Tomorrow,
but
yeah, I do. What series you watching?
Hold on.
I'll be here tomorrow if that's the topic.
It was.
You're a cartoon guy, J-Hub?
Yeah, I'm all about it, dude. I'll be here.
No, you said Heroes Journey. That's what I was talking about.
Heroes Academia.
I like the Angry Beavers.
I love that shit.
After school. That's who it was.
This is new to me. I don't know what this is.
Oh yeah, I'm subscribed to this.
I enjoy the content they do. Here, I'm going to drop the link.
I forgot the allegory of the cave. Somebody want to give me the condensed version? Unless we're going to watch this vid and I can get the video version.
No. Well, the reason allegory of the cave was just a different example they offered for the hero's journey. All of us are on our own hero's journey, our own individual. Should we accept it? Should we accept the call? And I am. The way that video describes the hero's journey, that's exactly where I'm at. I escaped from the cave. Joe, the idea of Plato's cave is there's a group of prisoners raised, chained, and all they see is reflections of shadows on the wall.
I remember.
One of them escapes to the outdoors to find that the shadows are not real, but the real is totally different, and goes back in trying to explain to those who he escaped from, and they're like, "You're crazy. None of that makes sense. You're delusional."
But the world is flat.
Well, it's the path of the philosopher. They're misunderstood. They're rejected from their hometowns. I'm living this story right now, guys. So welcome to the Talcottian adventure.
It's a weird one.
It is, but if it's real,
Mr. Flo.
if
It's a
this
weird
is real,
one.
guys,
Jesse
brothers
knows.
and sisters,
They say philosopher isn't welcome in his hometown, Jack. I think the prophet isn't welcome is how I'm familiar with it. Perhaps it's time to move, baby.
I am here. I am outside of my town, outside of my physical reality. To
Bullshit! Don't lie to
deflection.
that bullshit, Jesse.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
fucking encourage
I
this.
know Jesus said, he told, his disciples, if people not receiving your word, dust your feet off and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Maybe
Yes,
that's why you're on the internet now, because maybe the people around you didn't want to receive it. But I mean, sometimes this stuff can kind of be an echo chamber too. You're not really getting to the people that really like I said, I feel like everybody on this panel, at least, maybe not everybody listening, but understands and kind of already identifies with, a lot of your thoughts and, kind of understands where you're coming from. They might not agree with everything, but they at least understand your
I would agree with you, bro.
And
Jack
it's kind
is
of like
building
a church.
something.
Yeah, it's kind of like a church too, because a lot of time you get people that it just becomes an echo chamber and you don't reach the people on the outside that really need to, understand it.
So,
that's
right?
the hard.
You feel them? You feel them?
That's
You
the
feel
hard
them?
part.
Take the show on the road. I dig it.
That's like I said, the work. It's easy. The work is the hard part.
Yeah.
Angeleen, maybe we'll pick up Jack along the way.
Right.
please do.
I'm saying Jack is Forrest Gump. He gonna be Forrest Gump.
Right. That would be great. Priceless
with the long
shit,
beard.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Crazy.
Does that mean
Do you play ping pong, Jack?
you
What's
say
that?
Jack's
play
retarded and he
ping pong?
falls in love with hoes?
John, I think you may be my favorite person I could have asked for right now. But I also believe you would be the guy who ends the show if I, ask you some of the questions I'd like to ask you if you're the guy I think you are.
Go right ahead, brother. I just came to announce some changes.
Oh, God.
I just wanted to say, John Thomas, this is my girlfriend Angeleen. Joy, this is John Thomas. He knows the Bible very well as well. So I'm sure you two could get into some very, deep discussions about that.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you
John,
very
if you
much,
haven't
Jason.
met Angeleen, that's my ex, and that's Jesse's current girlfriend. Yeah.
No, this is serious though.
All right.
It's Supernatural with Sid Roth. I don't know if anybody knows who that is.
No.
Is this the guy who hits the people with the jacket and they fall down and stuff?
No, he
No.
just does interviews with people who do spiritual.
Sid Roth is back. Sid Roth is
okay.
back basically from the dead. He's been out of commission for years with illness, and that just never happened now. So I'm going to be trying to hit up Sid Roth. He's been a big advocate about supernatural changes.
Okay.
It's just been a big convenience, I guess, that we couldn't reach Sid Roth.
So you're saying he's been sick for a while, but now he's doing better?
Long time. That's never happened now. He's been going this whole time.
John, have you been on that THCO that they've been passing around?
Brother, you're in the cave. You believe the shadows are real.
Is that like a bath salt? Moose, is that like a bath salt they came out with?
No, I mean, Benton has been smoking the THCO.
Is that Sid Roth? All right, I'm zoomed in. I don't recognize that cat.
You look like Joe Biden.
That's him.
Angeleen, what do we think about Sid Roth?
Oh,
What do we think?
I gotta fix it again.
We don't want to see him.
I don't know. My grandma used to watch him all the time.
We want a second opinion.
Interesting.
I
didn't know
John,
he was
that's not
dead
looking
because he
good.
still has the show on Gaia. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Gaia.
And I don't think he said he was dead. I think he was going on. Then he was sick for a long time, and now he's come back. And apparently, he wasn't sick. So it's one of those, not the butterfly effect. What's that called?
Mandela effect.
Mandela effect. So are you talking St. John Thomas? Is that you're thinking that's one of those things?
Absolutely. I looked him up. I looked him up just months ago. I mean, and he had been out of commission for years.
You don't think he just bullshit everybody?
I don't, brother. Like I say, you're in the cave, man.
Have you looked into this man's eyes? Here, make me full screen.
That's the irony of it, man. We've had all these changes, and Sid Roth has not been available.
This guy might as well be Kenneth Copeland.
Could they have cloned him, and now he's come out as his natural clone, or is he?
You know what? Is he better than Alex Jones? Is he better than Alex Jones?
He was all about like supernatural things, like gold fillings in people's teeth and stuff like that. And I always thought, man, this is right up his alley. Why haven't we heard from Sid? And it's because he's been ill.
Apparently not. I've heard 8 times. Was
wasn't.
he ill? Was he not?
Well, I mean, that's what it's saying now. He never was. He's been going strong this whole time.
But
so how long have you been watching his stuff?
Yeah.
I've been watching Sid Roth a long time.
Angeleen, have you watched Sid Roth? Angeleen?
My grandma used to. My grandma used to watch him all the time, so I kind of grew up with him in the background. And I've seen him on Gaia recently, but
you have seen him recently.
That's about it.
But that's what's important.
You hiding your honest opinion.
That's what's important. You've seen him recently.
Come on, Angeleen. You hiding your honest opinion. You really got an opinion about this person, but you're not expressing it. You don't want to hurt John Thomas's feelings.
I don't know much about him, honestly.
Listen, Bob Dylan.
But I know he's always been there. I'm surprised he's still alive. He seems like he's been old forever.
She didn't notice his disappearance. That's interesting, John.
You
didn't notice his disappearance. That's interesting. John thinks he's been out of commission.
No, when I went on Gaia, the only reason I didn't even know he was on there, so it was only recently that I started seeing him, because I would look for a topic and then it'd be like, oh, there's a show on It's Supernatural, and I'd be like, oh, I remember that show. So just recently I kind of came across that stuff again, but I had no idea there was a break somewhere in between there. So
all right,
we looking for the tea. I ain't never heard of this guy. You saying you've been knowing him forever and you've been watching his content. I'm trying to understand.
What about Beetlejuice? What about Beetlejuice?
Alex Jones? If he's what kind of perspective are we getting from going to this person? What I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, you've been a little vague about him, John.
He's about
my cat better than that.
He's about supernatural things, Bible stuff. What about Beetlejuice? That little comedian guy that used to work with Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Little black retarded looking dude.
Yeah, he was gone. He's back.
Where was
James
he gone?
Earl Jones.
Where was he gone?
Dead. Everybody
said,
said,
what are you talking about? He was gone and now they're back. Where are you getting these conspiracies from, brother?
James Earl Jones.
You sound like a Christian Alex Jones is what I'm getting
I don't
from
know why you keep saying Alex Jones, but
I don't know why
What about Kenneth Copeland? He's got more Kenneth Copeland vibes to me.
Is that the guy who makes the shoes? I don't know that.
What is the relevance to the topic, John Thomas?
We were
I'm
talking
pretty lost
about
at this point.
change in the cave.
My avatar is Kenneth Copeland.
I mean,
But
fuck
no,
a deer.
John
What does this have to
Thomas,
do with Jack
seriously.
Talcott?
Is there
The
a
fake
relevance
reverend, I
to
know
me
that
or
is.
to this?
Overcoming past
topic?
limits here. That's what we on.
I just tuned
Jack,
in, Jack.
watch
I
your
apologize.
energy,
All I
Jack.
heard was
Watch,
the cave and change.
watch your energy, Jack. I
Okay.
mean, say what you
I
got to
get
say, but watch your energy.
I get you.
All right.
I appreciate you bringing
wanted
forth the new news. There's a lot of interesting things going on, and I don't know who this guy is, who it is not. I'm actually a fan of what the Gaia channel has been doing. A lot of the productions they've done are pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I don't know this guy, but I know there is a lot of people that are getting a lot of support that when you listen to them, they actually don't make much sense.
Yeah, I wasn't that big of a fan. You know what I mean? I didn't agree with him.
Grr, you're portraying. I'm sorry,
Dude,
maybe
what the fuck? You
I'm
came
getting-
up here to talk
I'm
about
getting
some
that
dude who
he's this
supposedly
great
went-
dude and all of that shit. And you're
I
so
didn't say he was a
interested.
great dude.
You
I
didn't say that
I listened
verbatim,
to him
no.
for years. I said I've listened to him for years, so yeah.
All right.
Guys, if I ever do it, call me out. But we gotta just stop hitting the link and then just talking about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. Man. We got the whole we got
Kind
a
of
whole
shit
show
that
going
gets
on.
you thrown out the back door, John.
No,
We
we
gotta
got a
make
whole
it
show.
Re-
No, I'm
Not,
saying,
On
not
the
only do we
topic
take you out
of
the back door,
overcoming,
we put one in your head so you don't come back.
actually,
Metaversally.
no, John
respect.
makes a lot of good
Death
points.
threats
but I
from
mean,
Moose, I
I've done it
guess.
before too, but it's like, damn, we just
All
came
right.
out
Can
of
I
left
ask
field.
John his
I've done
question?
it myself.
Let me ask him the question and see if we get booted. I wanted to know, John, you were talking about a lot of the laws and things from back in the day. And I asked you, what laws did he leave? Or what laws do you follow? And God dog it, did I zero out again? Damn it, son of a-
No, you're still
No,
here.
you're here.
Oh.
Don't get confused, Joe.
All right.
It was two Jessies. I got confused too.
Some of
he's
the
in the
laws
confusion now.
that you say, if you could, you would follow those laws. You remember that conversation, John?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. I wondered, what laws do you follow currently?
Listen, it's for me to sum that up in like a 15-second little sound bite.
I
He
didn't
doesn't
ask you to
follow
do
them.
that.
We've been
Take your
over this.
time.
Look,
Take your
Joe,
time.
you're
I
not
didn't ask you to do
educated enough for
15
John
seconds.
Thomas to explain this to you in a timely fashion, all right?
Yeah, I didn't ask for the 15-second version. Please, what laws do you follow? Would you like me to give you some that I follow so I can show you how easy and possible it is to do? What laws do you follow?
With respect, Joe and John, may we do this at a later date?
I'll come ready for that conversation.
I would like to actually flush that out a little more because, like Joe, I'm unclear too. I've heard many things that we don't do, but I'd love to come together and continue these conversations.
I said last
Jack,
time we
it's
talked
Tuesday
about it, there
night.
was
It's
so many
Talcott
people in the
Tuesday.
room. I couldn't
I
really
know
get
I've
to
got
it.
ideas. If this if this ends in a reasonable fashion, I'm not done for the day, but
It won't.
well,
try
I'm
not to let
hoping to help it.
And to come to John Thomas's defense, they're overcoming limits. You know, this guy was either dead or at the brink of death. That's kind of overcoming limits to come back to life.
Okay, let's tie it back in.
I
I
read
appreciate
just
that.
a couple months ago. Sid Roth has been down for years.
No, I appreciate John. John always comes with some good points, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it was on my
he does a
spirit.
lot of good drugs.
A
But
TV pastor adopted the resurrection narrative. How brilliant!
Hey, I'm gonna start dropping some folks out.
we're out of here. All right, Jack. Peace and love,
Brother
brothers and
Thomas,
sisters. Praise
thank you. Moose, peace. Thank
Praise
you.
God.
J-Hub, blessings. Thank you, my friend. All right. You guys work as a pair, Jesse and Angeleen.
Well,
Get that motherfucker out of here.
I love you guys. Thanks again for good panel. I'll let you take it away, Angeleen. I'm just here cooking, so we'll see you soon.
Blessings.
I'm just here eating, so I'll let you have it last.
What am I having? What is happening?
It's an opportunity for final words, should you wish to share any. It's up to you.
Well, one last thing I heard was what law do you live by? And that made me think. And I think I live by the law that God is love and everything else is my own fear. And I don't know what else is better to end on than that. But it was a great conversation today. And I love the topic of overcoming because I know you've overcome a lot and so have I. And I love studying how these vessels work and how we can go beyond these vessels and become conscious of how they're wired and how our minds are wired and how we overcome those things and how that can change our lives. So if you want to dive into this topic again another day, that'd be awesome.
Hey, you are welcome all the time. Thank you, Angeleen. And maybe one time we'll flush out specifically some of the things you've learned. There's a lot of amazing people who have joined the panel, and to all those who did, sincerely, thank you. I enjoy the fellowship. I enjoy the conversations. And we collectively, we are creating these streams together. And for all of those who join in the chat as well, sharing their care. I mean, so many of you guys are just amazing, really. And please check out the Machine Lies coming up after this. I may or may not end up doing more today because it is Talcott Tuesday. So, brothers and sisters, overcoming past limits, my thoughts on this, I wanted to wrap up. Our limits, the majority of them are imagined, conscious limits, paradigms that we believe in, these fears that keep us away, keep us distant, these walls, these boundaries that keep us secure and safe. It's a bunch of nonsense, brothers and sisters. Your spirit is eternal, is divine. It is safety incarnate. Your spirit is health, intelligence, is love incarnate. The limits we think exist, most of them come from our past. And if we're honest, most of our limits are imagined. This imagined burden, cumbersome change, this difficult journey of growth and adaptation. Yeah, when your mind believes it's complicated, guess what? It will become difficult. And things we think are hard, man, sometimes they become pretty challenging. But if you can bring your spirit, bring the divine spirit, the true nature that's within you, that's calling you forth to break past those old limits, the ones that were imagined some time ago, were remembered. Maybe we tried something and failed a long time ago, but is it the same situation? It's definitely a different time. So just because one thing happened one way for yourself or someone else in the past does not mean that's true for you. So when we stop focusing on the limits we remember, the limits we imagine, we can bring our attention forward, right? And bring ourselves into the present. Because the present, brothers and sisters, it is the gift. Today, like it or not, it is the reward you receive for surviving the past. And congratulations. Where I'm at, the sun is setting. Whenever you see this, who knows where it'll be. But if you make it through another one, congratulations. We pushed past the limits of the past. And tomorrow we'll see what comes forth then and there. Thank you again, brothers and sisters. Sincerely, genuinely, all of you who have joined in, please do the subscribe and do the like thing, but trying to build this to grow. A greater world is coming forth when we push past the past limits. Thank you again, brothers and sisters. Choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless.